morning to you and welcome. Special day today. I know everybody's excited about the weekend. The weather looks like it's going to be nice. Today's night, but tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, into next week will be. Today we are broadcasting live. We are here at the War Memorial, the Wisconsin War Memorial in Milwaukee, right on the lakefront near Lake Michigan. And we are here because of the Field of Flags that is being put together, and different groups are outside as we speak. For those watching on the Bud Light live stream, that's what you're seeing is the initial impact of the Field of Flags. And what that represents is they're going era by era of those Wisconsinites in the military who have given the ultimate sacrifice. And that's what Memorial Day weekend is all about. They are starting with the Civil War. They started this last year, and this year is the Civil War, and then it will continue on year after year after year to build upon that until eventually every war and every conflict is represented via the state of Wisconsin. And it's this year, there's going to be almost 12,000 flags that are going to be put in the Field of Flags. By the time they finish this, it is going to be close to 30,000 flags, which is amazing, which is an amazing number when you think about it. But we're going to have pictures up all day on the Bud Light live stream. Also, I'm going to post them over on the Facebook fan page as well. And I'll post some randomly over on the on Twitter feed as well. But that's what we're here for today. We're going to talk a lot of sports. Don't get me wrong. Brewers got a nice win. You got the Warriors going to the NBA Finals. And so there's a lot to catch up on. Absolutely. We're going to talk a little NIL today as well and just get you ready for the weekend. I understand all of that. But today, that's one of the reasons we are here. So I walked around it today. And for those that have a chance to ever visit here, it's just one of those. It's open to the public. It's free. You can just come in and walk around. The Eternal Flame still is there eternally, obviously. Thus the name Eternal Flame. Duh. But it just, you walk around, all the branches are represented. Even 9/11 is represented. There's a piece of the girder that was part of the World Trade Center that is on display here. There is a POW MIA table set up here on the 4th floor, awaiting the return of those that have, been lost and not recovered. That sits there today. So there's just a lot of really neat things to give you a point of reference for recollection and remembrance. So that's a lot of what today is all about. So we are glad to be here. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Right now, you are looking live. That is a picture out of the window. We were going to be outside in the plaza today, but it's cold. So we are above the plaza on the 4th floor today. And that's where you can find us. And like I said, it's free and open to the public. So if you're in here walking around, feel free to swing by. And the picture you're looking at now is a picture of the left of the plaza. Way off in the distance is the back field where the Field of Flags will eventually fill in. And you'll be able to, if you're going to come down in this area, you'll be able to actually see that. So that was one of the reasons we wanted to be here today. So glad to have you. And Brewers get yet another win, the return of Josh Hader. And we talked about this a little yesterday. Using Devin Williams 3 days in a row, you kind of got the feeling that Craig Counsell knew something, and that you might suspect that there would be the return of Josh Hader in two reasons. That's good. One, Josh Hader, good to have him back, obviously. And two is that means that all is well, at least for the time being, with his wife and the unborn baby and such. So we're glad about that also. So 2 pieces of good news yesterday. So they got to Adam Wainwright early and ended up closing things out and got all that done. And the Brewers ended up getting a win. So nice job. Nice job. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Feel free. They gain yet another game on the Cardinals. 4.5 games. By the way, speaking of gaining, not to say that they're going to be a good baseball team anytime soon, But my God, did the Reds beat the hell out of the Cubs. The highest scoring day in 23 years, 20-5. 20-5. The Reds beat the hell out of the Cubs. Yesterday, I don't know what was more joyous, to be honest with you. I had, during the game yesterday and last night, I was following on Twitter, and I was, watching and such. I was sitting there, and I had friends saying, "This is great. They got to Wainwright. This is awesome." Josh Hader escapes the ninth inning and gets out of the jam, his 37th straight scoreless appearance, which was fantastic. But as the Reds continue to mount runs, people are like, "Oh my God, can you believe this? Oh my God, another one. Oh my God, another." It was just run after run after run after run. And people were just relishing in the flying of the L as the Cubs lose yet again. The Cubs only 4 games better now than the Reds. That's it. The Cubs are only 4 games better than Cincinnati, who has climbed into double digits. They now have 14 wins on the season. The Reds do. The Cubs, 18 wins. That's it. I don't know what was the bigger story. Obviously, the Brewers continue to win, and that's fantastic. But the fact that people were just laughing at and again, it's one of those days. They may bounce back today and get a 2-1 win. Who knows? But the Cubs got absolutely just dump trucked yesterday down at Great American Ballpark. Holy mackerel. The highest scoring day in 23 years as they ended up beating the Cubs 20-5. 20-5. So there you have it. 877-867-1670. You can hit us up there. You can also find us over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can track us down there at Ben Z. Kenny, producing the show today, at Ben Z. Kenny. Also, you can find us over on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. YouTube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Also, another aspect, you can find us over on Facebook and the Facebook fan page. And I'm going to post a lot of these pictures today as well, but you can find us on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. Twitch TV, you can track us down and email us as always, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. By the way, Pamela says, I was happy to volunteer yesterday placing some of those flags, and it was an honor. Pamela, it is an impressive sight. It really is. For those that have not seen it, that is a picture of just part of the Field of Flags. If you're watching over on the Bud Light live stream, and I encourage you today maybe to go there and watch it a little bit. And I'm going to put up random pictures and such throughout the day. But it is impressive. Over 6, and that's only half of the flags that are there. So the view that you see, I couldn't get it all in the frame, but there is probably, that's about 3,000 flags right there. But there's another whole half a field that hasn't even been planted yet as they continue to do it. Today, it's the Vietnam veterans that are all here, and they're volunteering to put flags into the ground. And the one cool thing about it is kind of a breezy day. When all the flags really begin to fly, it's a sight. And I'll post some of the video over on the Facebook fan page today as well. But Pamela, thank you so much for being a volunteer. This one is from Rick. Says, where are you watching the Indy 500 on Sunday? I am going to be early on in the morning. I am coming back from Pembine. I'm going to be up at the Four Seasons Island Resort on Sunday. I'm leaving for there tonight, as a matter of fact. And we're going to be at the Forgotten Fire Winery tomorrow for a little bit, and then back at Four Seasons tomorrow night, and then heading home. So most likely, to be honest with you, I'll probably be at home. Unless I hit, a sports bar or something like that where I go to watch it, probably be at home. I really haven't made plans for Sunday yet, but one of the things I always love during this weekend, and that is the running of the Indy 500 and all the pageantry that goes along with it. Love the Indy 500. That's actually, every year I reminisce about this, but that's actually where I got my start in sports broadcasting. So it very much has a home feeling to me because that's where I began. And I was the color commentator for Turn 4. So I had a chance to get my first start right there doing the Indianapolis 500. So thanks so much, Rick. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Ben, plans this weekend?
Going down to Chicago, actually.
Oh,
visiting some friends down there.
Are you? Well, you better
taking advantage of the long weekend.
I was going to tell you, take some runs with you because the Cubs need it. They got drilled.
Man, what a game.
They got drilled. It was great to see, don't get me wrong, but they got absolutely drilled. Just hammer spanked. Holy mackerel. By the way, Josh Hader's saying to everyone yesterday everything's okay with his pregnant wife, Maria. She's been dealing with an issue known as placenta previa. She's 34 weeks along, and an emergency C-section could be in the cards if the situation would persist. But as of right now, she's doing okay. So that's the best news of all. And hopefully she continues to stay well, and the baby continues to stay well. But just kind of cross your fingers that everything remains okay. And that was from Todd Rosiak of the Journal Sentinel, who covers the Milwaukee Brewers. Had that yesterday. So good stuff, and glad to hear it. Again, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Matthew says, hey, Unit, the Brewers continue to roll with all the injuries. Give me your thoughts. Do you think this team needs to go out and pick up anyone else? I don't. I think they stay with the punches. I think they stay with the punches until absolutely desperate, which I would agree. I said this yesterday. I said it the day before. I continue on. I don't worry about the Brewers until you got to worry about the Brewers. It's one thing you can get concerned to a certain extent because, there are some things that begin to mount and guys are having subpar years and Lorenzo Cain is struggling and we all know that. And, you could always use another bat, but if you're winning games consistently and you're doing it now, I put it this way. I am not going to say that come the trade deadline, they don't need to make a deal because I think because unless pitching goes by the wayside, I think they need to make a deal. I think they need to get another bat. You can't go into the postseason against some of these teams that can put up big time runs and just say we're going to win with pitching. You have got to be able to plate runs, and that's what we've seen over the last couple of years is that while the pitching has been good and, giving up 3-4 runs and such, but if you're not going to be able to score more than 4 runs a game, specifically in the postseason, you're not going to win in the postseason. You've got to score runs. So I am not saying that they're not going to go get a bat. What I'm saying is right now, I'm not desperate for one. I think right now what you do is you just sit back, you watch your season unfold, and you just begin to do your due diligence. And I'm sure David Stearns is doing that. But I don't think knee-jerk reactions when somebody goes down or you're missing a player for a couple of weeks or what have you, I for those that say, well, you got to make a move, you got to go get somebody, I don't think you have to do that. I really don't. I don't think you have to do that. I think you're good to stand pat and just kind of, move like an iceberg. This season is a long season in Major League Baseball. For as much as we want to be reactive game in and game out, the season is an incredibly long season and things can dramatically change between now and the end of July. So I think you just kind of hold firm to what you have and just wait and see. And I would agree with that sentiment, Matt. Appreciate it. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. We are broadcasting live down here at the War Memorial, the Wisconsin War Memorial. It's in Milwaukee County, sitting on the lakefront. But it is truly Wisconsin's War Memorial with the Eternal Flame and such down here, remembering Memorial Day weekend coming up. So stay tuned. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show live down here at the War Memorial coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Thunder is back, and you don't want to miss it. June 30th through July 3rd. It's the NASCAR Cup Quick Trip 250 and the Xfinity Series Henry 180. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
To pitch. Struck him out looking. 99 on the outside corner. And a pop-up. Rowdy Tellez has a beat on it and makes the catch for out number 2. And a slider popped up. Jace Peterson calls for it. Peterson catches it. Ball game over. Brewers with a 4-3 victory here in St. Louis.
It's a tough inning for anybody going through some really good hitters, but he handled it well. I mean, that's what he's so good at. Stuff starts going on and got a couple guys that are good at bats, and he still slows the game down and makes pitches. Guys give him tough at bats and he just still makes pitches. In those situations, there's not a lot of room for error, but there's never any speed up in Josh. And that's what allows him to keep making pitches. And it's an inning where you got to keep making pitches.
Welcome back to the program. Josh Hader gets out of a jam and gets the job done. Craig Counsell talking about it after the fact, and the Brewers get yet another win. And the Brewers are up right now on the Cardinals when it comes to the standings for the National League Central. 4.5 games right now. 10 games in front of Pittsburgh, 10.5 in front of Chicago, and 14.5 in front of Cincinnati. Pittsburgh and the Cubs tied with 18 wins apiece. Cubs have one more loss, 26 losses, where the Pittsburgh Pirates only have 25 in the season. And Cincinnati has finally climbed into double-digit wins a little while ago with 14 and 30 on the season. The Brewers 29 and 16, and they have the second best record right now in the National League, only behind the Dodgers, who are 30 and 14. And if the Brewers were in the, overall in Major League Baseball, the Brewers have the third best record. They're tied with Houston, who also is 29-16. The Yankees 32 and 13 on the season, and the Twins leading their division 27 and 18. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so again, 877-867-1670, if you want to find us. Give us a shout. So you've got last night after the ball game, you've got Craig Counsell, and he had discussed so many. When it comes to getting when you get a win against Wainwright, Wainwright has been so good for so long. Now we all know that it much like the sun coming up, you're just waiting for the injury to Wainwright at some point, because it usually happens. But Craig Counsell talks about getting so many hits against Wainwright.
Yeah, a lot of base hits, some 2-out hits that were big, and we did a nice job against Wainwright. We did a nice job. The Palante did a really good job for them, but we did a nice job against Wainwright and put pressure on him every inning and made him work every inning. And take 4 runs against them. It's well done.
And then also, Craig Counsell said, "Hey, look, Eric Lauer, he stuck with it. He gave up a couple runs early on in the contest, and he ended up just kind of hanging in there and stuck with it, and ultimately kept the team in the game."
He throws 60 pitches basically and only gives up 2 runs, and then he was very, very good the next 3 innings. Nothing really cooking. So we needed that 5th inning. It was big. I think he was close to frankly going out there for the 6th inning, but it was a good outing, and we got another great outing from our bullpen.
So, Ben, were you upset that he did not get out there for that 6th inning?
Not really. I mean, it took him so many pitches to grind through the first 5. Eric Lauer is on my fantasy team, and would I have enjoyed a couple more points? Absolutely. But you get it. I mean, he was grinding his way to get that deep in the game. I was really kind of what Counsell said. I was really impressed that he got knocked around pretty well in the first 2 innings and then settled in. But those are the type of outings that you don't need to go that late if they're already grinding to get that deep.
Because he didn't get over 100 pitches. He went to 96. So it wasn't like he couldn't have gone one more inning. But I was kind of wondering when they brought Kelly in. I was kind of wondering if you're the first guy I think of if a pitcher doesn't go 6. Is when they go out and get him, and he hasn't reached 100 yet. I'm always sitting there thinking to myself, is Ben Kenny throwing something at the television right now?
Now, there's a difference between high pitch count because you're missing bats and they're strikeouts, and high pitch count because you're getting hit a little bit and grinding through innings. Like if he was at 96 and he was, fanning guys and just getting into 6 pitch at bats, then yeah, I would have liked to see him come back out.
Right.
But
so Lauer sticks
I also am a believer. I'm a big believer in what Counsell does. I tend to give him the benefit of the doubt in those situations.
I do too. Lauer goes 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned. 1 strikeout, 4 walks yesterday. Only 1 strikeout and 4 walks, and like you said, he got beat up a little bit. You had a good inning from Kelly. You had a good inning from Boxberger, and then Hader comes in, gives up just 1 hit, and throws a walk as well, and gets out a little bit of a jam, gives you the 1 strikeout. 23 pitches to get through that final inning, but gets his 16th save of the year. And after, Lauer got, knocked around, like you said, a little bit, Counsell says, look, he then got locked in.
He just got locked in, and just pumping strikes. There was not a lot of hard contact after the second. So it was I think just delivery, just getting a little locked in. We always say it's that starter hadn't been out there. That first inning's tough. You haven't been out there in 5 days. And, fortunately he got through it.
And then last but not least, Adam Wainwright, 5 innings, 10 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned. They did have the 1 error. He had 1 walk, a couple of strikeouts, and then ultimately gave up the long ball to Urias. That was in the first inning off of Wainwright. And when asked about it after the game, Craig Counsell, he was asked, did you guys approach things differently because you guys haven't necessarily had the most success against Adam Wainwright? And he said, no, just kind of did our normal thing.
There's not something new to discuss. It's about your plan against them. Anticipating a little bit of what is he going to do to you. We know what he's good at. He's going to do what he's good at. It's getting a pitch to hit, and we did a nice job of that and laying off the stuff that's the breaking ball down, cutter in, laying off that stuff.
So the top of the lineup yesterday, pretty solid when you think about it. Colton Wong 1 for 5, scored a run yesterday, had just the 1 strikeout. The Urias we just talked about had the bomb. And he ended up going 1 for 5. Christian Yelich, again, 2 for 4 yesterday with an RBI, took a walk as well. Did have a couple of strikeouts. McCutchen, he's got his average now up to 258 with an on-base percentage of 312 and a slugging percentage of 375. 2 for 5, scored a run yesterday, also had an RBI. So solid day there. Rowdy Tellez had a base knock. Tyrone Taylor had a base knock. Narvaez, 2 for 4 yesterday. So offensively speaking, for the Brewers, not a bad day at the plate yesterday with 12 hits. And everybody that got an at-bat yesterday. At some point, got a hit. So good to see the offense continue to kind of keep it up, especially when we talk about the injury bug and what this team has kind of had to deal with just a little bit. So, good stuff. You get another one coming up again tonight. Excited for that. Brewers baseball later on this evening. Stay tuned for that on many of these same stations. You've got the Brewers and the Cardinals. Woodruff goes to the hill for the Crew, 5-2 with a 4.76 ERA against Hudson, who is 3-2 with a 3.60 ERA. 7:15 tonight. 7:15 tonight, Central Time. There you have it. This one's from Anthony, who says, not worried at all about the Brewers. I think the Brewers are on pace to win 95 games. He says, I think I predicted at the beginning of the season. You'll have to ask my brother, who I bet with. Anytime you place a bet, the other guy's always going to remember exactly what it is you say. He said that the Brewers wouldn't win 89 games. He took the under. So I think the Brewers are going to make my bet a safe one. I'll be glad to collect the money against my brother, and hopefully they go deep into the postseason. Appreciate the email. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. I got a question. I got a weird question. I'm going to answer it real quick. Over on the Bud Light live stream, Brentley says, I've been looking at buying some Skyline chili. Now, Skyline chili, as I've talked about before, it's originally from where I grew up, which was back in Cincinnati. He said it's on Amazon. Some cans I can buy, but where do you recommend I buy it from? Well, if you are in the state of Wisconsin, you can buy it. Pick and Save carries it. Woodman's carries it. You got to look at it. It's usually like around the Hormel chili section. Canned chili. Look for the canned chili. He said, also, if I make it myself, do you cook the chili and then dump it in on the spaghetti noodles? Well, what you do is you make spaghetti separate. And then you take the noodles, put it on a bowl or a plate, take the chili, put it on that. And then after that, you finally use the fine side of the grater. Don't use the thick side of the grater. The fine side of the grater for mild cheddar cheese. Grate that out. Put that on top. If you like onions or beans, now that's something different. You can add onions. You can add beans. Put that on top of the chili and then a cheese on top of that.
You wait till it cools a bit and begins to coagulate.
And then you go ahead and throw on some of those oyster crackers, and you're good to go. It's good stuff, man. I love it. Got me thinking now. It's not helping the diet. Rick says you can buy it at Walmart, too. So there you go. Yeah, it's everywhere now. It's getting everywhere. I actually tried to buy a franchise and bring it into years ago in Milwaukee. We had the building, we had the site, we had the storefront, the whole deal, and they would not allow us to franchise it outside of 150 miles of its origin, which is Cincinnati, Ohio. So we couldn't get it up here, but we tried to. Just tried to. Maybe we should try again. It's like printing money, man. Printing money, especially if you keep it open until 3 a.m., right after the bars close. Printing money. Good stuff. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. We are broadcasting live here at the War Memorial. We are right here on Lake Michigan, and in remembrance of Memorial Day weekend and what it is truly all about. And you were looking live right now on the Bud Light live stream. You're looking live out over the lakefront and the square up here, but also off into the distance is the field where the Field of Flags continues to grow. And right now you have a lot of Vietnam veterans out there putting the flags in the ground as they remember those from the state of Wisconsin who have fallen. And we'll have more of an explanation on all of this coming up here about an hour from now. Dan Buttry, who is the president down here of the War Memorial. And I've got a good history with Dan. Dan was the original president of Fisher House, Wisconsin. And he'll be here to tell you a little bit more about what's going on down here this weekend. And as a guy who is a veteran, we'll, kind of get a little bit more of a sense as to what Memorial Day weekend is all about. But thanks for taking a listen to us on this special broadcast, on this special day. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there, as I'm going to be there tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Forgotten Fire Winery. Now, we know Wisconsinites, we're not pretentious, we're not stoony, we're just good people. That's what we try to be with Midwestern values, Midwestern charm. It is what it is. So tomorrow, heading up to Forgotten Fire Winery, tomorrow from noon to 4, they have some music. So going to go listen to some music, take a winery tour, go meet the winemaker tomorrow, and take a tasting of some of the wines, some of the ciders that they have. Looking forward to it. And you can do it as well You can do it there. You can find the wines and the ciders in many of the grocery stores and liquor stores all throughout the state, the wine stores all throughout the state as well. And I highly recommend it. Forgotten Fire Winery. And if you can't find it in any of those stores, ask for it by name. Ask for it by name. Or just simply go to ForgottenFireWinery.com. That is ForgottenFireWinery.com. Good people, good sponsor right here in the state of Wisconsin, up in Peshtigo, Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, up there. But it's going to be worth the travel, worth the trip. And they do events up there too. Like tomorrow, they're going to have some music. But if you're looking for a place to get away, a tasting, kind of a romantic weekend, whatever it happens to be, there you go. Forgotten Fire Winery. Good stuff. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We're back in Judge Gina's court where debate's heating up.
Order.
Sorry, Gina.
That's Judge Gina, and this case is dismissed.
Dismissed?
Come on, guys. Wisconsin's home team. Everyone knows it's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
You got us there, Judge Gina.
Can't argue with that.
Others sell only 1 or 2 lines of windows, and both are vinyl. Pella lets you choose from an unbeaten 6 window lines, 2 lines of budget-friendly vinyl windows, 3 lines of luxurious wood, traditional to contemporary, and Impervia, Pella's exclusive never rot fiberglass, engineered to be the strongest window material anywhere, period. Then there's financing to fit any budget. And now, up to $2,500 off an installed patio door, up to $3,000 off an installed entry door. What's left to argue?
Hella now?
Pay later. Hella now.
Hey,
Court's adjourned. With the price of materials rising across the country, don't let your huge savings slip away. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you. We are broadcasting live down here at the War Memorial on the lakefront of Lake Michigan. And here today, obviously getting ready for the Memorial Day weekend and all that it has to offer, which out here, which if you can get a look, and I don't know if you can see it real well on the live shot, but on the live shot, and right off into the distance, kind of just beyond the parking lot, is the field where the Field of Flags is going to be finalized tomorrow, but it continues to grow today. It began yesterday as they put one flag for every Wisconsinite who perished. And this is, we'll have it better explained to us coming up here in a little bit less than an hour by Dan Buttry, who is the director down here. But it's for, I believe it's for one flag as they start with the Civil War. One flag for every Wisconsinite lost in that conflict, and then every year it's going to be an additional conflict and or war, and then eventually it will all be a conglomeration of all, and then they look to, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be plus over 30,000 plus flags eventually. But just what a powerful scene down here, as I just kind of show you around a little bit for those watching on the Bud Light live stream. And I posted some of the pictures over on the Facebook fan page as well. The Eternal Flame, the field, obviously, when you come down here, the girder from 9/11 from from the World Trade Center, the table setting for the POW MIA, and then there is the powerful picture of the soldier holding the hand of a young person, saying the true soldier fights not because he hates what is in front of him, but because of what he loves behind him. And just a really powerful image. So if you come down here, you can take a look around. It's free of charge, but it's just a reminder as to what this weekend truly is all about. And you know that I'm very, very supportive of our military men and women and veterans and such that have served, that allow us every night to lay our head on our pillows because they sign on the dotted line and say they got this. And so that's the reason we are here. Rick says, by the way, you have to hit up the fire museum when I'm up there in Peshtigo. Remember Peshtigo burned down years and years and years ago. The Peshtigo fire burned the entire city down. So yeah, they've got that fire museum up there. I do remember that, as a matter of fact. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. So here's a question. And I know Craig Counsell is creeping up on the all-time wins. We talked about this the other day when it comes to, because Phil Garner has a ton of wins, but he's got more losses than he does wins. And when you look at the managers in Brewers history, is Craig Counsell the best manager in the history of the Milwaukee Brewers? Is he the best manager in the history of the Milwaukee Brewers? And I think at this point, you would probably have to say, yeah, right? I think you would have to. When you look, because Phil Garner has 563 wins. Phil Garner, Scrap Iron's got 563 wins, but 617 losses. He has 1,180 games managed. Craig Counsell has 1,008 games managed. So thus, 172 games less. But he's already accumulated 529 wins. You would assume he is going to eclipse Phil Garner this season in wins. And if he ends up 10, 12, 15 games over 500, I mean, he may not even get, I would assume he's probably going to end up with more than 500 losses total by the end of the season. But you got to think that once he eclipses Phil Garner, Craig Counsell is by far, right, the best manager in Brewers history. Now, he has not given them a World Series. He has not taken them to a World Series, so I understand that. I get it. But would you not say in 4 postseason appearances, he's 7-10? He's 7-10. Harvey Keene was 6-6 in postseason. So if he gets a few more wins and actually gets more wins than losses in the postseason this year, which would be fantastic, don't get me wrong, that means they don't ultimately win a championship. But let's just say he gets to the league championship. He would eclipse Phil Garner for wins. He would also have more wins in the postseason. He does have more wins in the postseason right now than anybody. Is Craig Counsell the best manager in Brewers history? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Is he the best manager in Brewers history? Carl says, I think he is the best in team history, yes. Brandon says he's going to get to the World Series this year. Carl also says, I think many times it comes down to management. If the team spends money for good players, it helps a manager. Mark Attanasio and David Stearns helped Counsell a lot not to take anything away from what he has done. The one thing, though, that I find so interesting about that is that Craig Counsell, couldn't you say with the analytics and the way he's been able to, because he is not, do you think Ben, let me ask you this. Compared to, say, the Cardinals, the Phillies, the Mets, you look at the teams that have spent money, the Dodgers, compared to those teams, and even the Cubs early on, compared to those teams, would you say the Brewers always had the best team?
No. Most times,
I wouldn't either.
No.
I wouldn't either. I think they get it done by the manipulation of the analytics. They get it done with statistics. They get it done with matchups. They get it done in those particular ways. Now, don't get me wrong. They've had some key components, and they've had better pitching. And we all know pitching will win you a lot of games. But if you go top to bottom, pound for pound, player for player, I think other teams have had more talented teams. But in the grand scheme of wins, I would venture to guess that I think Craig Counsell's probably the better manager. And I'd almost say
I would
by
also
far.
I would also argue that the way Counsell manages his team and his pitching staff, especially, it has made them better than on the field. The way that he's approached going about the rotation and the bullpen and everything has maximized all of their talents. So.
Yeah. See, I would agree with that. I know some people get on Counsell because of the way he manages the pitching staff, but you can't argue with the outcome. The wins far exceed the losses. And I know it hasn't given, but it hasn't given the Brewers a championship. But pound for pound, you start to go around that team. When you look at guys like Ogilvy and Gorman Thomas and Robin Yount and Paul Molitor, and you go through that whole Cecil Cooper, go through that whole team and the pitching staff that they had, pound for pound, that was a far better team. A far better team. And yet the Brewers of today, without having big power hitters and power pitchers and all that kind of, they get it done in a different way. That's the reason I can say I think, for what Craig Counsell has and what he's done, I would think he's the better manager. I think he's been able to manage a better game. 877-867-1670. Is Craig Counsell the best manager in Brewers history? Is he the best manager in Brewers history? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Now, the only guy that's had success of winning percentage better was when Harvey Keene took over for Buck Rogers, and it became Harvey's Wallbangers for that period of time in 82 and 83. 877-867-1670. And then there's Dale Swain, obviously. He was the manager with a winning percentage after 12 games. He was 7-5, but you got to go with at least 100 games, if you understand what I'm saying. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show, broadcasting live down here at the War Memorial, right here on the lakefront of Lake Michigan. Stay tuned. We got more coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. We are broadcasting live. We're at the War Memorial, right on the lakefront, Lake Michigan, in Milwaukee County here. And they are putting together the Field of Flags. They have a ceremony here tomorrow morning. We're going to hear more about that coming up here in about 35 minutes as Dan Buttrey, the director down here, is going to be joining us to tell us a little bit more about the event upcoming and what you see down below where the parking lot is, and some of the tables and such are set up. That is a beer garden that they have out here during the summer. And they do some different events and fundraisers and such down here. And as they really have ramped up their fundraising efforts. And just a really, it gives you perspective, I guess is the best way to put it. When you have Memorial Day weekend coming up and everybody's looking forward to being out of work and a 3-day work week or a 3-day weekend. And I get it. You know, the sun's going to come out as it's already starting to come out here. And you can see some blue skies off in the distance a little bit. And we're all looking forward to warmer weather. And it's the unofficial start of summer. And it's just like, you know, I get it. You know, we're ready to go. But also Memorial Day weekend is a time of remembrance. And I remember when I was a kid, man, my aunt and uncle would come down all the time. They would bring the gold spray paint. And it was always, we would go to the cemeteries and we would decorate the graves of soldiers with my family. So that was always, you know, my dad being an Army veteran and my uncle being an Army veteran. He was an Air Force veteran. I take that back. He was in the Air Force. And just, you know, it was always one of those weekends of remembrances, you know. So that's what I ask you to do this weekend. Just remember, nothing more. Just remember. 877-867-1670. So is Craig Counsell, when you look at his win total, as it continues to climb, he is right now, Craig Counsell sits at 529 wins, 479 losses, 525 winning percentage. The most wins in Brewers history is held by Phil Garner at 563 right now. So he's 34 wins, more than Craig Counsell, but 617 losses where Counsell only has 479. Counsell's winning percentage, 525 as the Brewers manager. Do you think he is the best manager in Brewers history? Dean says, yeah, I think that Counsell's the best Brewers manager, especially at managing the overall game. Probably isn't celebrated as much as he doesn't have the big personality that former skippers have. By the way, Thomas says, Bill, the wife and I are in the final week of an 8-week trip to Spain, Portugal, France. We're going to be in Bordeaux next week. Do you need any wine? Oh, my God. I always could use wine. Oh, my goodness. That is a hell of a trip, man. Thomas, appreciate it. Wow. That's going to be a beautiful, wonderful trip, to say the very least. Going over to the email. Got some emails I want to get to as well. This first one is from Joe. Joe says, good morning, Bill. I am a veteran. Appreciate what you guys are doing down there today. Thanks so much for remembering those who have fallen. I do believe that the Brewers' best manager has been Craig Counsell. He does it in a different style. I agree. He's not outspoken. He's not flamboyant. He just goes about his business and gets it done. I think that's why they win, because he's not too high and not too low. In today's day and age, that's the way you have to be. That's from Joe. Joe, appreciate it very much. What else do we have here? Andrew says, hey, unit, hands down, Counsell is the best manager, not being a prisoner of the moment. I have seen some of the managers in the past, and I understand their records. I'm not over 30 years old yet, but I am a Brewers enthusiast, and I do believe that he is the best. There you go, Andrew. Appreciate it, man. 877-867-1670. Hey, coming up later in the program, speaking of Andrew Brandt is going to be joining us. We're going to hear from him. We're going to get his thoughts on the Green Bay Packers. We'll also get his thoughts on what's going on with Deshaun Watson. And now that we have seen some of the footage from the Real Sports with Brian Gumbel and Watson's accuser speaking out, and what the NFL may end up doing or may not end up doing, we'll talk with him a little bit about that. He's been very out front on that particular story when it comes to the business of sports. We'll get into that. And also, I want to take a little bit deeper look into the NFL ownership when we start to talk about some of the owners and the accusations against Stephen Ross and Jimmy Haslam and now Daniel Snyder and all the things that have gone on and what may or may not come of perception-wise Colin Kaepernick, now that he's had a tryout with the Las Vegas Raiders. So we're going to get into all of that coming up in about an hour from now. Stay tuned, as Andrew Brandt's going to join us coming up in about an hour and 2 minutes. So stay around for that, because we got a lot of good stuff today. It is 1 hour down, 3 yet to go. We are broadcasting live down here at the War Memorial, and thanks to all of you on the Bud Light live stream for paying attention. If you want to watch the program and see some of the sights and scenes and such that we see down here, and the field of flags that is just outside, representing many lost souls, many lost Wisconsinites on this Memorial Day weekend. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Subscribe for free. And stick around. Also, this portion of the program, if you're going to do something this weekend and you're looking for a boat, stop out to my friends at Skipper Bud's out there in Pewaukee. Go see my buddy out there, Todd, who's the general manager, 262-544-1200, 262-544-1200. Yachts, pontoons, sport and deck boats, he's got them all. 262-544-1200, ask for Todd. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Last night at Busch Stadium was a matchup of the top two teams in the NL Central, and it would be the Milwaukee Brewers coming out on top with a 4-3 victory over the Cardinals. The Crew would jump on Cardinals pitcher Adam Wainwright early, scoring all of their runs in the first 4 innings. Here's more from manager Craig Counsell on the Brewers offense.
Yeah, a lot of base hits, some 2-out hits that were big, and we did a nice job against Wainwright. We did a nice job. The Palante did a really good job for them, but we did a nice job against Wainwright and put pressure on him every inning and made him work every inning. And take 4 runs against him. It's well done.
Josh Hader was also activated yesterday. He appeared in the 9th to pick up his 16th save of the season. The All-Star still has not given up a run this year. The Brewers and Cardinals back at it tonight. First pitch is at 7:15. To the NFL, we're a month removed from the NFL's draft, and the Packers have already signed 10 of their 11 selections under contract. Yesterday, wide receiver Romeo Doubs and offensive lineman Zach Tom became the latest to sign their deals, and the only draft pick remaining unsigned is their second-round wide receiver Christian Watson.
Your work-life balance is important to you, and Sutton Transport agrees. Sutton Transport offers a 5-day work week. Same start times daily, and you'll be home nightly and on weekends. Sutton Transport is now hiring CDL drivers and forklift operators for all shifts. Enjoy some of the best benefits in the industry. Consistent year-round work, twice-a-year wage increases, and enjoy your family time you deserve. That is work-life balance. The road to success is with Sutton Transport. Apply at suttontrans.com.
Wisconsin football will open up their season under the lights against Illinois State September 3rd. That kickoff is now slated for 6 o'clock. The Badgers will also kick off their home games against Washington State and New Mexico State at 2:30, while Wisconsin's homecoming game will be against Purdue, kickoff 2:30. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. And for those of you on the network now joining us, thanks so much. Today is a special day. We are broadcasting live. We are down here at the War Memorial right on the lakefront of Lake Michigan in Milwaukee County. It is the Wisconsin War Memorial, and the Field of Flags is going in as we speak. They began yesterday putting the flags in, and one flag per lost soul, Wisconsinite, who perished. And we'll find out more information about all of this that's going on ceremonially tomorrow as well. Down here at the War Memorial, Dan Buttry, the director down here, is going to be joining us coming up about a half an hour from now. One thing, I wanted to catch this because I got an email, Ben, and I'm not quite sure what was said. Were you guys talking about the NIL today?
This morning? We were.
In college sports? So somebody had said,
we touched on it.
And I don't know if you guys said it. Well, I couldn't tell you. Who brought up the fact that if you're going to pick up recruits and you want to start doing NIL logo endorsement, we pick them up in the big unit cruiser?
That was a combination of myself and Ebo.
Okay.
We're talking about
I wasn't sure.
Ideas for how boosters can get involved.
Okay.
He had brought up the CEO of Epic, which is an absolute money machine, obviously, here in the state. I said, I've put out there that the Bill Michaels show could do some NIL deals. And Ebo said, they got to go to the game. They got to go on the road. Up in the big unit cruiser.
That's awesome. I wasn't sure. And somebody had texted me, a buddy of mine texted me and said, did Wisconsin say they're going to use your cruiser to go pick up recruits for NIL deals? And I thought, that's a first. I didn't know. So I wanted to know where that came. I thought there's no way somebody said that. And I figured maybe you guys were talking about it, but because I missed that this morning. I was downstairs. I literally had a chance to walk through and over there by the Field of Flags. And I wasn't listening this morning as I usually do. So when that was there, I said, there's no way. So somebody else had to say that. It's not like all of a sudden Barry Alvarez is doing his podcast with Matt LePay and says, well, we're going to contact Bill to start picking up recruits all over the country and bringing them back into the state of Wisconsin. Although it would be fun and we would certainly welcome that, but I didn't think that was the direction in which they were going. 877.
Thinking
who was talking about the NIL? Was it Lane Kiffin?
Yeah, he's the latest one.
And his share was that the Pandora's box is basically open now, right?
He said that he doesn't see how they are not professionals and not in a professional sport. He did note a possible problem that could arise with a booster, and if he gives a bunch of money, gets a kid in town, and let's say the coach doesn't want to start him, but the booster says you have to, then that could affect the coach's job.
Well, you could do that now, though.
That was my thought. But he was mentioning that he talked about how, they need NIL to compete in this world, all the normal stuff you hear these days.
Yeah. I get where, and I understand that statement, because now you have got, if you are a booster and you put your money into a recruit, okay, which I think you're an idiot if you do it, unless it's an absolute positive sure thing. And for these guys that have a buddy or have a friend of a friend who knows a kid who's really, really good and they're going to sink their money into him, look, until this kid's proven, don't get me wrong. I mean, you can spend your money the way you want to, but I think you're crazy. I mean, here's the thing. When a kid is coming out of high school and you want to put your hooks into him for money, okay, and you want him to represent you, going from high school to college is a massive step. It's a massive step. Just like going from the college to the pro ranks is a massive step. You don't know who is going to succeed and who's not. You really don't, until that kid gets away from home, unless, of course, it's in their own backyard. But until that kid gets away from home, until you figured out if he's able to handle a relationship, if he's able to handle a breakup, if he's able to handle his money, if he can do his own laundry, if he can stay in school, all of that stuff, until you understand when this kid's suddenly punched in the face with real life issues, even though college is still not real life in comparison to going out into the real world. If for those of us that remember our college days, it's a euphoric state. You act like you're an adult. You're making adult decisions. You'll do your own thing. You're feeling your oats. You're flexing your adult muscles, but you're still reliant upon people. You're still in a structured atmosphere. It does ready you for life and ready you for business and ready you for the job market and all that, but you're still somewhat sheltered. And so until that guy pans out, I don't think I'm spending my money on a kid in high school. Some of these guys will, because it's fashionable to buy them and they've got enough money to do so. But if that kid doesn't work out, or the coach doesn't see eye to eye with this guy and he doesn't play him because the talent in front of him is better, you're out your money. So be it. But I get it, where some of these boosters have egos that feel that they can do what they want, that they can buy their way into programs. I mean, how many times have we seen somebody busted? Who was the guy from Miami that was on the sidelines and he got busted for trying to pay players, and he basically had bought his way in, and he was down there in the Miami Hurricanes jersey on the sideline and the watches and the gold and all that, and he was the guy that was floating money around to these guys because he bought his way in, and he was nothing more than like a nerd. He was just a nerd who made it in business, and that's fine. That's great that he did. I mean, very much a success story, but ultimately he ended up going down because of some of the illegalities that he had going. But I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. But, I mean, some guys, that's their ego, to be able to spend money and become the athlete quasi through the participation and support of, rather than playing it as a kid or, back in his college days. And suddenly you're a supporter and you're there and you're mixing and mingling with the athletes, and just like the big man on campus, because you have the money to do so. I can see the problems, but these are problems. If say you're one of the biggest donors to the college, and you have a kid you want not only to go to school, but you want him to play, and suddenly this big donor is going to say, you know what, I'm going to pull my money if Nick Saban doesn't play this guy. I could see that being a problem. I don't think there's anything unique here. It's all in how the coach handles it, I guess. Which, by the way, I have a quandary. Should I do this now or should I do this later, Ben?
Well, depends what it is. I'd say do it now. I'm interested.
I have a quandary. I want public opinion on this.
What are you thinking about giving multi-billion dollars to Wisconsin so they can get a quarterback?
No, I screwed up all my multi-billions on those pay machines and gambling machines inside the bars. I've lost all my millions. So, no, I got like a social issue I want to ask about, and I thought this happened to me last night. So here's my issue, okay? And I'm gonna express this, and then I want a public opinion. I want opinion on this. So last night, Kristen's son had a baseball game. It was at Worth Park in Brookfield, and we go to the games, and you take your fold-up chairs and everything. And so last night, I made a point to sit kind of away from people, and I was probably from the opposition's bench, probably 15 to 20 feet. From the other fans that were behind the backstop, I was probably, again, 15 to 20 feet. There was one guy in the vicinity. He was maybe 7 to 10 feet away. It wasn't real far, but whatever. So we sat down out in the park, and I was sitting there watching the game, and I lit a cigar. And, 4 innings, 5 innings go by, and I am making sure, because I am very, very, very cognizant of this. I never, ever want smoke to blow in anyone's direction. So the direction of the smoke was blowing behind me, okay? So it wasn't going towards anybody. And the coach came over and said that you cannot, he wanted me to put it out because, how it was almost like, how dare you smoke at a league game? And I looked at him, I'm like, okay, no big deal. He was really kind of a jackass, kind of rude about it. But I get it. Maybe there's some kind of tobacco thing. I have no idea, but I made sure to sit away from people, was my point. Should I have been offended, or should the people around me have looked at me and said, no, that's not right? Or was I wrong? Because part of me was, sure, no problem. I get it. All you got to do is ask. But he was a jag about it. So I laid it down. I didn't like scruff it out, but I laid it down, and cigars go out. They just burn out if you don't keep them lit. So I laid it down, didn't touch it the rest of the game. But it was in a 7-inning game. I think it was like the 4th inning when they said something to me. And I wondered, was I wrong Because, I mean, I've done this before and nobody's ever said a word. But is that wrong or is that just socially unacceptable now? And again, I wasn't sitting in the stands with a bunch of people, or anything like that. I'm very cognizant of that because I get it. But is that wrong?
Well, which team was winning?
It was actually, I think, a tie game. It was a good game. They battled back and forth until the very last inning.
All right, because if the opposing team and the coach who asked you to put it out, if they had been losing, you could have just said, "Oh yeah, I'm watching you get smoked on the field, so I don't really need this."
It was
anymore
Kristen's
anyway.
son's coach, one of his assistant coaches. Speaking of nerds who live vicariously through their kids, he actually said last night, and I kid you not, Ben, and I'm only going to say this because I laughed my ass off. One of the kids comes up to the plate and he's like, "Okay, remember, when you hit it, run fast." I'm like, what?
What?
That's your advice? I mean, you're just saying stuff, and I'm almost slipping here because I'm sitting there last night just thinking to myself, you're saying things to say things. Like you're some kind, because some of these guys manage like they think they're Sparky Anderson trying to win 2 World Series, 1 in each league. That they live vicariously through the kids. And I look, don't get me wrong, education, I appreciate it. They're taking time out of their schedule. They're doing what a lot of parents won't do. So I appreciate that. But sometimes you can always tell the guy that's there because I'm the coach, that guy, the same guy that, guides you into your parking space at American Family Field, who acts like he's a cop, like at any second in time, that flashlight that he has, he could point it at you and arrest you with that flashlight, that guy. But so was I wrong at all? Sitting in an open park, open air, away from people. I would like to know publicly, was I? Because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't mind admitting that. But I'm just was thinking about that, and I thought I'd throw.
I don't know much about smoking ethics, so I don't know if I can comment on that. But I will say, from the coach perspective, my old T-ball coach during the coach pitch tournaments, I guess it was Little League travel baseball. Whenever he would throw a horrible pitch and we would miss it, we were like 7 years old, he would go on these cursing tirades at us, telling us to hit the ball better.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all 8 or 7 years old.
Right.
So I think the bar was set low in my childhood that any other coaching stupidity that would happen, I can tolerate.
And again, I just I was kind of flabbergasted. I'm like, really? And I'm looking around. It's not like I'm making sure that nothing is blowing in any. Anyway, I don't want to go on and on about it, but is there like an etiquette there? Brandon says, yes, you should have been offended. You did nothing wrong. You went out of your way to please most people. And Angie says, wrong on the coach's part. If the park doesn't have anything posted about using tobacco products, then you're good to go, which is true. Interesting. And you don't have to sign anything walking through the door, where you say, I adhere to certain little league rules or something. So I don't know. I was just putting it out there because I wasn't offended by the ask. I was offended by the way it was asked. Jeff says the park or the school that the field is in should have signs posted. No smoking on premises. I have done the same thing and have been chastised for it as well. So my question is, like, parents that smoke, they walk away and smoke. They smoke cigarettes. I've seen it. And now this was, and you're right, Jason, who just emailed me. Jason said, does this guy listen to your show? Maybe he doesn't agree with your opinions, therefore thought he was a big man by approaching you. One of the other people that were there last night said the same thing. Said the exact same thing. That maybe this is a guy who just doesn't like you. So he thought he'd come over and flex his muscles. All right, just kind of throwing it out there. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Before I take a break, let's go to Tom. Tom listening in Fitchburg. Tom, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
I'm great. First of all, why would anybody not like you? Like, seriously.
My mom's even questioned that when she was alive. Yeah.
No, but a longtime umpire and also kids who went through it and everything. I really, honestly, don't take offense to this, Bill, but I just didn't like the smell of smoke, when I'm at a game or at a restaurant or whatever. I think the solution probably would be to maybe a little bit more than 20 feet, maybe go to the outfield or something like that. The guy was probably a jag because he was like, cigar smoke or cigarette smoke, sometimes that, even if the wind's blowing a certain direction, it annoys them,
Right.
And maybe he was just irritated by that. So don't take offense to it and move on and just let it ride.
Yeah, okay. That's fair enough. I appreciate the phone call. Thanks, man. And I can't imagine anybody not liking me either. But, oh, well. So, and again, I made sure that the wind was blowing behind me, so it wasn't going to get in anybody's way. And I thought I was far enough away, but maybe I'll take that into consideration. But if I go sit in the outfield now and somebody says something, now I got an issue. And again, I wasn't offended at all because I completely get it. I wasn't offended by the ask. I was offended by the way it was asked, more so than anything. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. If you got something to say it. We're broadcasting live. We're at the War Memorial going into Memorial Day weekend. This is what it's all about. And the Field of Flags continues to go in as we speak. And if you're watching on the Bud Light live stream, you can see a portion of it from earlier this morning as they continue to put the flags. And that is only half of the flags, by the way. If you're watching on the Bud Light live stream, that is only half of the flags that will end up encompassing the majority of that field out there. And that represents one lost soul, one Wisconsinite who perished in a conflict. And we'll hear more about that coming up here in about 10, 15 minutes. Stay tuned. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Burn Pit Barbecue. Speaking of veterans, our guys at Burn Pit Barbecue, a terrific launch on the Home Shopping Channel and QVC and such. And go to burnpitbbq.com. That is burnpitbbq.com. And to support veterans right here in our own backyard. The company's been in business a couple of years. They're great guys. Ben and Greg are fantastic people. Support veterans who support the community, who support veteran charities. burnpitbbq.com. Not to mention, what's lost in all that is the fact that it's actually really, really good stuff. And I would vouch for it. I have it at home. I use it. We just had it yesterday, as a matter of fact, when Kristen and I grilled out yesterday afternoon. So burnpitbbq.com. That is burnpitbbq.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, if we are going to be picking up some of these NIL guys for the Badgers, our friends at Cunis RV, they're the ones that supply our big unit cruiser. And you're travel and camping experts. And if you're looking for a motorhome, a fifth wheel, camper van, travel trailer, whatever it is, Cunis, they have got you covered. Jayco, Alliance, Coachman, Catalina, Dutchman, Forest River, I can go on and on. I shall. Heartland, Crossroads, Keystone, Winnebago, Redwood. Stop into any one of the Cunis RV locations all throughout the great state of Wisconsin. This weekend especially, I saw some campers on the road, boats loaded up, all that kind of good stuff. Everybody heading off for the long extended weekend. Cunis RV offering top dollar for your trade-ins right now and consignment as well. And if you're within 50 miles of a dealership, they'll come and get your consignment absolutely free of charge. How about that? Not a bad way to go. Stop in and check out all of their dealerships and go to cunisrv.com. Cunis, K-U-N-E-S, cunisrv.com. That is cunisrv.com. They are Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. Again, go to cunisrv.com. Let's get back to the phone calls and check out some of the people that are on hold. First of all, let's go to Austin, listening to us in Virginia. Austin, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, good, Bill. Love the show, and as a Navy reservist and a veteran, I also really appreciate all the work you do for the armed forces and the veterans. Especially with the Fisher House.
That's my pleasure.
Thank you very much for all that. Regarding your conversation about Craig Counsell as the best manager in Milwaukee Brewers history, I really think it's really dependent on whether you see league championships and how heavy you weight it in terms of how the manager is. The other thing is, I think, when you're looking at that, I'm thinking Craig Counsell and Harvey Keene, right up there. Obviously, the 82 Brewers going to the World Series, and actually Harvey Keene won the manager of the year that year as well, which you take a look, Craig Counsell has not yet won.
Don't you think, though, Craig Counsell should have won a manager of the year by now? Because there was a couple of years ago he should have absolutely won.
At least one.
Yeah.
Yes, at least one. So, and the crazy thing is, I think, if, and I kind of want to say if and when the Brewers, make it to the World Series, I think that would totally elevate Craig Counsell as like an absolute shoo-in as the best manager in Brewers history.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think it's just really dependent on how well or how much you want to weight, league championships and World Series appearances. So
yeah.
Those are just some of my thoughts.
No, I agree, man. I appreciate it and appreciate all your service, pal. Appreciate it so much, and thanks for the phone call. I would think, man, because the Brewers' appearances in postseason history have been so ebb and flow. You build up, you get there, and then you crash, and then you don't go back for years. And then you build up, you get there, and you crash. In the meantime, Craig Counsell has been in the postseason 4 times. 4 times. Buck Rogers made it once. Harvey Keene made it once. Dale Swain made it once. Ron Redecky made it once. Craig Counsell has made it 4 times. 4 times in 8 years he's been there. So you got to think, when you start talking about the best manager in history and for what he's done franchise-wise as opposed to other years, that you would consider him to be the best. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I do agree. You got to have some more postseason success. Let's go to Randy. Randy, welcome to the program, man. What's going on?
Bill, I'm just wondering about George Bamberger as being the best manager in the Brewers' history. What he did with the pitching staff that they had at that time, coming out of the Baltimore system, where he really knew the ins and outs of how to get the best and most out of your pitching staff. I don't know how many wins he ended up with in his career, but I think George Bamberger should be considered for that.
You know what? He's got appreciate the phone call. He's got a terrific winning percentage as well. 566 winning percentage. He only managed 415 games. He's got 235 wins, 180 losses. And with a manager with over 100 games managed, more than a season, he had 3 seasons. More than a season. He's up there when you talk about winning percentage and such, and kind of getting. Now, he didn't have any postseasons for Bambi's Bombers. No postseasons. It wasn't until Buck Rogers came in and took over after that. After George Bamberger had kind of put it all together. Now, George Bamberger also, don't forget, came back after Latchman. And Bamberger then came back and coached, managed 300 more games. So he's got over 700 games managed. But in that stint, he was sub 500. He was a 454 winning percentage from 85 and 86. And then Tom Trebelhorn came in after that. And Treb came in 819 games. 422 and 397. Treb didn't have a bad run, but didn't get to the postseason. It was a different setup then as well, but you understand what I'm saying. 877-867-1670. Angela says, by the way, public parks almost never have no smoking signs. You were fine because you did your due diligence to stay away from people. Appreciate it. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, welcome to the program, man. What's going on?
I just wanted to make a comment about the smoking.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a former smoker, and I think there's nothing worse than former smokers. I can smell smoke a block away. So I don't know about this person's attitude, which is what concerned you most, I think. But former smokers are probably the worst. We can smell smoke, and knowing how many people I offended by smoking in their presence, still sticks with me. So, there's my 2 cents.
Okay. Appreciate it, man. Thanks. And you're right. I mean, being a former cigarette smoker, now I didn't smoke cigarettes, but I know former cigarette smokers who can smell it a mile away. I agree with you. And again, it was just, I wasn't so much offended by the ask, and I get it. Completely understand it. I just said, okay, no problem. It was more so, I guess, the attitude. That was it. Let's do this. Let's step away. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to take a moment away, as we should, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on down here at the War Memorial and what Memorial Day weekend means to so many and should mean to so many, as we talk a little bit more about the Field of Flags and find out some more of the information about what's going on down here at the Wisconsin War Memorial. And if you're paying attention on the Bud Light live stream, obviously you're getting some of the pictures from some of the things down here, such as the 9/11 girder from the World Trade Center, the POWMIA table. You've got the Eternal Flame down here, and then also, like I mentioned, the Field of Flags. So stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming to you live down here on the lakefront on Lake Michigan in Milwaukee County at the War Memorial. We'll be back right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Quick Trip, giving away a 2022 Chevy Camaro SS. And all you got to do is stop in, pick up some Pepsi products, Jack Link's products, get additional registration by using the Quick Rewards card, and stop in and see our friends over there at Quick Trip. And again, don't forget to use the Quick Rewards card. And coming up on July 3rd, the morning of July 3rd, right before the Quick Trip 250, when NASCAR comes rolling through and roaring through Elkhart Lake and Road America, we're going to give that thing thing away over at the Ustaf. So if you have not gotten registered for that thing yet, stop into your local Quick Trip, do so, and you could walk away with a brand new 2022 Chevy Camaro SS, which is it's the same one they're using for the pace car, as a matter of fact. So just completely badass, for lack of a better term. Joining me now here inside the War Memorial is the president and CEO. I'm going to slide you this way, Dan, so people can see it, because there's the camera. There you go. Dan Buttry is here. And first of all, thanks for having us down here, man, and obviously what the weekend's all about.
It is. And by the way, that sounds real. I'm going to go to a Quick Trip and put my name in. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing. Thanks for coming down. For those who probably don't know, we first connected on Fisher House.
Yeah, you were the original president of Fisher House, Wisconsin.
Yeah, and doing a ride out of the dealership. And I remember you looking at me going, hey, how can I do this? I mean, you were already doing your annual ride. And I said, oh, man, that would be so awesome, because, it was just like back to back. We were always doing it the weekend closest to 9/11 for obvious reasons, September 11th. And then they eventually got you on the board of directors. And so you're a great American, Mr. Bill. And so you get this, obviously, because of your work in working on the Fisher House and the families of our military. The War Memorial is 65 years young this year. They opened it in 1957 on Veterans Day. It is what it is. It's a memorial. And so it's mixed use. It's one of a kind. It's the only one in the country. I was watching the Brewers game last night, and behind the stadium, you see the arch. The same architect who does the arch did this building here.
Is that right?
Yeah. His name is Eero Saarinen, Finnish born. He did multiple buildings, but he's the one who did the arch in St. Louis. So actually the building itself where we're in is iconic. It's structured. It's a replica of a pillbox of June 6, 1944, because when he was concepting what to do and how to build, he was talking to 4 D-Day veterans. One of them is still alive. He's in my VFW post, Bill Pickerel. And so part of this, people were like, man, it looks like a bunker. Yeah, that's the concept. It's a pillbox, because he wanted to be by the water and remembering all those who died in that glorious day, because we won the day, but we lost thousands. And that's what Memorial Day is. So I know you've got cameras trained, and you've been taking some photos of the Field of Flags. We started that 2 years ago.
So let's explain to people, because I was trying to kind of give the explanation as to what this is right now. So the Field of Flags started a couple of years ago, and it represents lost soldiers, men out of the state of Wisconsin. Okay, so this year represents what?
So this year it's the 160th anniversary. Sorry, a lot of dates. Of Wisconsin's first recipient of the Medal of Honor.
Okay.
He was an Irish immigrant, and he came over, fought in the Wisconsin 14th in Mississippi, and receives the Medal of Honor. His action was October 3rd, 1862. So because of that, we have marked this year as Medal of Honor year here at the War Memorial. We do a lot of education programs and recognition. In fact, we're currently of designing Wisconsin's first permanent Medal of Honor exhibit this year. We hope to have it. We hope to happen by mid-August. We're in a capital campaign mode right now, just making great headway. And so we thought, well, if we're going to do this year, every year we want to keep growing until eventually we get to the number of how many Wisconsinites died in service to this country since statehood, so 1848. And each year we keep growing that number to eventually reach that final number. So year one was, we did Milwaukee County died in World War II, 3,700. Last year we did a little different last year. All the men and women who have died in service to this country since 9/11. Last year was the 20th anniversary of September 11th. So that was right around 7,500 flags. And so this year, we keep finding these numbers so we can increase. So this year is 12,301 Wisconsinites died fighting during the Civil War. And so, that's just a massive number, because if you think about where we were, state population was like 800,000 and in the 1860s. We have African-American units that deployed out of Wisconsin that fought and died. Most people think of, the indigo blue Union soldier, uniform, but 12,301. So it's a combination of commemorating the anniversary of Wisconsin's first Medal of Honor recipient, and then remembering those. So as we grow this over the years, and we don't know what that number is yet, I still haven't, so 8,800 World War II statewide.
Mm-hmm.
Civil War, 12,301. So then we have to, World War I, Korea, Vietnam.
Right.
So we'll eventually get to that. I stole this idea, as I said, from Boston. I was telling you earlier, and they do this in the Boston Commons, and they place over 33,000, 35,000 flags right now. They're doing it simultaneous, and they're remembering every lost Massachusetts citizen who fought and died in battle. And that's what this is. I'm wearing a flag hat today. We in the military, I'm a veteran. We salute the flag. The flag is such a powerful symbol for us. We die, they bury us under the flag. You've often seen that, a flag draped coffin. So we also try to explain to folks, when you come out and see this powerful image, imagine them as coffins. Imagine those are lost souls,
right,
who went and you don't want to talk about badass. I mean, come on. I mean, you read some of the stories of what some of these individuals did, and you're like, I don't know if I would have done that. It's such heroism. So we're honoring remembering, but we're also like celebrating the individuals, and what it took to be that and do that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's and I keep telling people this is free and open.
Yes, it is.
Just come down, grab a parking space and come on in and walk around. One of the other things that I found fascinating today is not just what you celebrate down here, so to speak, regarding those that have died, but the living. And you do a lot with the suicide prevention.
Yes.
And one of the cool displays, and I took some pictures of it, and for those watching on the live stream, you can see this, but there's a gentleman, he's paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
He is a veteran. He has attempted suicide, and he found solace in Legos, in building Legos. And this whole display, I didn't realize. I thought it was just kids that came down and did this. And I started to get it explained to me and said, no, this is a guy that found therapy in building Lego sets, and he's paralyzed.
He's paralyzed, yes.
He's paralyzed, and he's put all of these magnificent, intricate Lego sets together, and they've got them on display. You have them on display downstairs. It's amazing.
We do. This is also, when I say office building, you have to be a veteran organization, nonprofit, or a nonprofit. So in the building here, you have USO Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
So we house them here. We have Paralyzed Veterans of America, Wisconsin.
Right.
And so it's through collaboration with PVA, Paralyzed Veterans of America, that we work with their team. We do a 5K in October. It's a walk, run, roll. It's a wheelchair roll.
Yeah.
We're the only licensed or certified 5K for wheelchairs in the state of Wisconsin.
Wow.
And we worked with, Scott and his team over at PVA to say, let's do this. You go into Veterans Park, as you can see, it's a level terrain. So, other than hills, if you go a little bit west of here. And so this is what we do. We're collaborating with other groups that are making a difference in the lives of the veterans of the service. We'll have change of command ceremonies here with our active duty military, retirement ceremonies. And so we rate the honor and
Mm-hmm.
the integrity of all those who currently wear the uniform, wore the uniform, and those who mission is honor the dead or honor the fallen, serve the living. And since I took over in January of 2020, I've put a heavy emphasis on serve the living.
Right.
And with that is mental health, suicide prevention, because keeping them alive is serving the living.
Sure.
And those who love them and surround them. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having us down here. This is fantastic, and obviously this is a great view to work out of, rather than the small back at the house. And
anytime.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and obviously we hope to work some more together with you.
And I've got a coin for you before you wrap here, because I know you're some of the time hack, but that's a military tradition. I think you're familiar with those.
Yes,
and
I am.
There's a war memorial coin.
That's,
so a small token of appreciation.
That's
for what
incredibly
you do.
special. That goes with the Fisher House that you got me in, because you gave me one of those.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. You and Kim Mikulowski.
You can blame me for all that.
I know, right? I know. That's absolutely awesome. I love it so much. Thank you so much. And, obviously we're going to work together a little bit more. You've got the honor ride coming up. Wrong, the Medal of Honor ride?
Yeah, Medal of Honor ride is on 9/11.
Okay.
It's 1 week after your ride. So what we want to collaborate on this, because some groups are like, well, it's mine, or it's mine. We do this in collaboration. And isolate will fail. And so and people you can work with and trust. And obviously that's you. I can work with Bill. I can trust you. And then you're just So
Well,
that's how
it's
we're
our
gonna
pleasure.
that's how we're gonna hit the broader
Yeah.
spectrum and serving our.
We are hoping for those that are listening that are going to do my ride coming up in on the Sunday, September 4th of Labor Day weekend. And one of the details that has never been announced, and because we just don't know, but we'll talk a little bit about it here for just a second. But we are hoping to have the only living Medal of Honor winner in the state of Wisconsin to join us that day, who wants to come, just whether or not the health allows it. But we're hoping to have Gary Wetzel join us that day.
He's the last surviving Wisconsin recipient of the Medal of Honor, and you don't go through what his body went through and not see road scars.
Yeah.
And so he's struggling. So our prayers our wishes are going out to Gary and his family. But I tell you what, if someone's going to push through it, it's that guy.
He's not going to ride with us, but if he
No.
can show up
I
and
don't
say
think so.
hello to the people that do, that would be fantastic. So, but we're crossing our fingers for his health and obviously for his appearance.
Yes, it'd be awesome.
First and foremost. But great stuff, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Have a great
Appreciate
weekend.
Thank you.
In the sense of getting more and more people down here. For
Get them down here.
recognition.
We got a beer garden too.
That's
Proceeds. half the proceeds come back to support our efforts.
Right.
So
right.
we've partnered with Kegel's Inn, and the proceeds come to us. So not only can you come down here and check out, and all summer long, by the way.
Right.
That beer garden's down here all summer long. So proceeds come back to support the War Memorial when you go in and have a cocktail or two. Ride
That's
your bike
awesome.
down. Check
Yeah,
it out.
you can kind of stare in the Bud Light live stream now.
Yeah.
You can kind of see out into the distance
Yeah.
a little bit. So good stuff, man. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Bill. I really
Thanks so
appreciate
much. Absolutely. We're going to step away, take a quick break. More of the Bill Michaels Show live down here at the War Memorial on the lakes of banks of Lake Michigan, shall I say. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We're back in Judge Gina's court where debate's heating up.
Order.
Sorry, Gina.
That's Judge Gina, and this case is dismissed.
Dismissed?
Come on, guys. Wisconsin's home team. Everyone knows it's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
You got us there, Judge Gina. Can't argue with that.
Others sell only one or two lines of windows, and both are vinyl. Pella lets you choose from an unbeaten 6 window lines, 2 lines of budget-friendly vinyl windows, 3 lines of luxurious wood, traditional to contemporary, and Impervia, Pella's exclusive never rot fiberglass, engineered to be the strongest window material anywhere, period. Then there's financing to fit any budget. And now, up to $2,500 off an installed patio door, up to $3,000 off an installed entry door. What's left to argue?
Hella now? Pay later. Hella now. Pay
Court's adjourned. With the price of materials rising across the country, don't let your huge savings slip away. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin, well beyond the borders as well. And if you want to get in, give them a call. One location or one phone number for all their locations is 414-455-4451. Again, 414-455-4451. Give them a shout. And whether it's for ED, erectile dysfunction, maybe ladies listening to the program, maybe it's the ladies. They have new Fem now as well in the same building. So if you're looking to maybe get whatever it is you need checked out, you can do that too. But whether it's say weight loss, they have the all-in-one weight loss program for both. You can go in and get low testosterone checked. Guys, if you feel like you're moody, you're up and down, you're just not yourself, you're tired all the time, run down, you can get that checked as well. So many things they can do to help. All you got to do is call 414-455-4451. Again, 414-455-4451. 5-1. Give them a shout, and they can certainly help you out. Got a couple of emails as we were sitting here talking before about Craig Counsell being the best manager in Brewers history. That's from Dennis. Dennis says, I'd have to go with Harvey Keene. Harvey's wallbangers were a staple, and he was a hell of a manager. George Bamberger is extremely solid. Craig Counsell right up there. I can't consider Phil Garner the best manager in Brewers history, not just because of the win total, but because of the loss total. The loss total was so much higher than his wins. He did not have the best of talent to work with either. That has to be taken into consideration, which I completely understand that. It's kind of it's a good barroom question. You know what I mean? It's just, who do you feel is the best manager in Brewers history? And there's been 19 of them. 19 of, well, actually, I take that back. There's been 21 of them in Brewers history. So who would you think would be the best manager in Brewers history? 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free to do it.
1975 Harvey Kuhn.
1975. Well, you had in 1975. What?
He was
yeah,
1-0.
well, he was 1-0. It's just because Del Crandall was right before that, and then you had Alex Grammas. Alex Grammas was part of the 1975 Big Red Machine. He was, I think it was either the first or third base coach, and then he came over as the head coach, the manager, in 1976 and 77. Did not have much success after that. And then it kind of goes on from there. That's when George Bamberger took over and then gave way to Buck Rogers, who got him to the postseason, and Harvey Keene again, and on from there. But yeah, Alex Grammas.
How about this for some trivia, Bill? Which Brewers manager leads the franchise all-time in ejections?
All-time in ejections. Ned Yost.
It's kind of a trick question because Ned Yost and Phil Garner are tied with 25.
Okay. I know Ned got tossed quite a bit. Ned was fiery, and I knew Phil was too, but I thought maybe Ned overtook him. But 25 ejections.
So that's why that could be a knock against Counsell. He doesn't have the dog in him, you know?
Well, but see, that was pre-replay. You know?
I know.
So
I said that
replays,
completely as a joke.
right? No, I agree. But that was when you looked at a manager and you said they're a personality and they're fiery, and because you could argue stuff. Now you go to the top step, you look down the tunnel. If the guy gives you the thumbs up, you challenge it. If he doesn't, then you sit back down because you're wrong anyway. It takes that personality out of the game. Can you imagine? Like, go back to the days of Whitey Herzog, Sparky Anderson, Tommy Lasorda, some of these guys Billy Martin, who just argued and they were fiery and they were very smart and they knew umpires and the buttons to push. Lou Piniella, if it instant replay would you will never see a manager go out and throw first base out into right field because it's the bang bang play and it's going to be proven right or wrong via instant replay. You're never going to see that again. The generation of today, yourself, you will never see a manager whale a base into the outfield because back then you just argued the call. Now, Earl Weaver was another one. Earl Weaver was fiery too. Yeah. Hey, coming up next, Andrew Brandt, the business of sports. We're going to talk with him about so many things, including the Green Bay Packers. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers have won 3 straight. That's after beating St. Louis last night 4-3. Luis Urias hit his 4th home run of the year, while Christian Yelich and Andrew McCutchen each drove in a run. Eric Lauer solid over 5 innings, giving up 2 runs to pick up his 5th win of the year. After missing the San Diego series due to a family emergency, Josh Hader returned to earn his 16th save of the year. It didn't come without some drama, as the winning run was on base, but manager Craig Counsell says Hader never lost focus.
It's a tough inning for anybody going through some really good hitters, but he handled it well. I mean, that's what he's so good at. Stuff starts going on, and got a couple guys have good at bats, but he still slows the game down and makes pitches. Guys give him tough at bats, and he just still makes pitches. In those situations, there's not a lot of room for error, but there's never any speed up in Josh, and that's what allows him to keep making pitches. And it's an inning where you got to keep making pitches.
The win moved Milwaukee to 4.5 games up on the Cardinals in the NL Central. Same 2 teams tonight in St. Louis. First pitch is at 7:15.
Where can you learn the skills to take care of yourself and your family? An apprenticeship in construction. Imagine earning money while you learn and getting paid to go to class and graduating without big college debt. You can explore 11 different trades. To get started as an apprentice, visit buildyourcareerwi.org or search for ABC of Wisconsin online.
Well, the Packers have all but one of their draft picks under contract. 4th rounders Romeo Doubs and Zach Tom became the latest to sign their rookie deals yesterday. Green Bay now has 10 of their 11 picks signed. Only one left is 2nd-round wide receiver Christian Watson. Packers finished off their first week of OTAs yesterday, back on the field next Tuesday for week 2. Turning to the Badgers, they're going to open the season at night against Illinois State. That was announced yesterday. Kick on September 3rd, set for 6 p.m. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show. A special day. We are broadcasting live at the War Memorial here on the banks of Lake Michigan, Milwaukee County, as the Field of Flags is expanding and getting to over 12,000 flags, a representative of the lives lost, the Wisconsin lives lost, going all the way back to the Civil War. And as you heard Dan Buttrey just a little while ago, the president and CEO down here describe all the different conflicts, and they're going to do a different one each year, eventually building up to all Wisconsinites that have been lost. as that Field of Flags continues to grow. Now 2 years in existence down here on this Memorial Day weekend. So we are glad to have you. Thanks so much for listening to us in whatever capacity. And joining us now over on the hotline, our friend Andrew Brandt. And Andrew's got the Business of Sports. He's got the podcast. So much and in-depth behind-the-scenes access every real sports fan wants. We all know that. Got the Brandt on the rant, and he's also got the business letter. Everything. You can find him over at Andrew Brandt on Twitter as well. Andrew, how you been?
I've been good, Bill. It's a nice time. It's a little slower, but there's always the business with sports that keeps me busy. I'm actually busier when the players are not playing than when they are.
I was going to ask you, because there's a lot going on right now and a lot of stuff I want to dive into. First and foremost, I want to dive into the Deshaun Watson thing. And I've been reading what you've been writing about it and hearing the podcast. And so tell me because there's so many things because everybody just expects he's going to be suspended and that'll be the end of it. And everybody wonders what the NFL is waiting for. So can you kind of explain what is going on right now regarding Deshaun Watson?
Well, it's hard to know what's gone on for the past 18 months because we first heard about reports of these massage therapists. That's that long ago. But I think there's better idea of what's going on from now on because the NFL has talked to Deshaun Watson. And to me, that's a big sign because having done this at the Packers for 10 years, I won't go into who or what it was about, but when the NFL looks into something, the last person they talk to is the player that is facing potential conduct discipline. That's always been the case, and as far back as I can remember, and it's still the case today. So once they've talked to Watson, which they have, now they make a report. And it's headed by Lisa Friel, who's the former Manhattan sex crimes prosecutor, who was hired away by the NFL after the Ray Rice stuff. And she, I think, is either done or close to done with her investigation. So now it goes to what is now a disciplinary officer, which is new, NFL and NFLPA jointly appointed. And that will make a determination on discipline. And then any appeal, there will be lawyers. But guess who the appeal goes to? Everyone knows the answer to this. Mm-hmm. It goes right back to the Commissioner Goodell. So I guess what we have here is a little change in the process from Goodell being judge, jury, and executioner to be more just judge, appellate judge, if you will, rather than jury.
So, and one of the things, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that one of the hesitations would be that if you suspended him right now, and then the cases move forward, and for whatever reason it becomes in some way, shape, or form a criminal case, that if, say, video comes out and what have you, much like we saw with the Ray Rice deal, that all of a sudden, well, you've suspended him once, you can't go back to the well again and say, well, we've discovered that this is even more egregious than what we were led to believe or what we thought, or more so than a he said, she said, that they can't then suspend him again. So they're being very cautious in how they want to handle this up into punishment.
I think that's a good point. I mean, that's the double jeopardy that applies from the Ray Rice suspension. Again, for people who don't know, Ray Rice was suspended 2 games, which no one seemed to have a big issue with at the time, right? There wasn't a big outcry, hey, he only got 2 games. Mm-hmm. But then that second video came out and the world changed and he got an indefinite suspension. And Ray Rice, I remember covering this for ESPN, sued and he won. The indefinite suspension was thrown out because of quote-unquote double jeopardy. Now, in his case, he never played again. So it was kind of a Pyrrhic victory because no one ever wanted to sign him again. But that would be different for Deshaun Watson. But listen, Bill, I think there's going to be a lot of discipline here, even without criminal charges. I don't see Deshaun Watson playing many games this year. I just don't. Because I'm back to precedent. And I've said it many times, Ben Roethlisberger, Ezekiel Elliott, both 6-game suspensions, both for activities towards a woman, maybe just one woman, both no criminal charges. So how in God's green earth is Deshaun Watson going to get
less than 6 games, and I would think even close to 6 games. So I just think it's going to be a long suspension.
So we'll move on from that. I also want to talk about the owners in the NFL. You've got what is continuing to be an ugly layer after layer after layer of the onion peeled away from the Washington Commanders and Daniel Snyder. Stephen Ross and Haslam both attempting to pay coaches, or allegedly attempting to pay coaches, to lose games. I mean, owners are starting to really smell in some of this as well, and the perception of ownership is growing poor, also with some of the personal stuff that Jerry Jones has been dealing with as well. I got to think that if I'm Commissioner Goodell, I don't even want to answer my phone at this point, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I hear a lot of people say, well, they're going to get him out or get Snyder out of Washington. I just don't see it. 24 votes. And like you just referenced, do these owners want to have an owner thrown out when they have skeletons in their closet too? So I just don't see it. And I've said this many times over the years, Roger Goodell, part of the job description is to protect these guys. They're his bosses. And he's done that very well. Every time he's asked about Dan Snyder or Jerry Jones or Stephen Ross, he just deflects. And that's what happens. So, yeah, owner behavior has not been good. But, there was a quote from Jerry Jones along the way here that, drama is good. So whether it's good publicity, bad publicity, he has become a lightning rod. It's rare in sports where an owner gets as much publicity as the best players, but certainly Jones does that. He's probably the most marketable cowboy of the whole organization. How about that?
Yeah, no, that I would agree with. With the House subcommittee looking into the practices of the Washington Commanders, what do you see happening? As far as judgment goes, or as far as discipline goes, at what point does all this come to a head?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is like Watson. It's going to kind of go on its own pace. And there is no, my phrase, deadline spur action. I don't think there's any deadline. Now, the committee has asked for subpoenas, I believe, and everything seems to be in that calendar. We've had the women on Capitol Hill testify against Daniel Snyder, but it hasn't moved since, and it's, what's going on in this world. And yeah. Congress may not get back to this for a while, if at all, and that's just the way things happen.
Then there is the Stephen Ross, obviously, and the issue there with him being sued and the owners being sued for the discrimination factor. Where are we in all of that?
Well, there have been a couple of hearings. There's been additions to Brian Flores as a class action. Steve Wilkes, who was a one-year coach at the Arizona Cardinals, he has joined that lawsuit, as well as Ray Horton, an assistant coach, and that is moving through the court process. Again, tough one to prove, because you know what's going to happen, whether it's the Giants or the Broncos or pick a team, Houston, they're going to say, we hired X coach instead of Brian Flores for 10 reasons, and none of the reasons are going to be race. So how do you prove those things? I mean, those are going to be the tough things legally. The question for Brian Flores is, does he become a standard out there that he changed the processes in the NFL? We're seeing little things like this accelerator at the meetings, where it was speed dating between owners and minority candidates around the league, minority employees that are in front office and coaching. Now, people say, well, that's kind of contrived, but it's good. It's a step. It's a step.
I did want to ask you as well, by the way, we're talking with Andrew Brandt, the Business of Sports, SIMMQB. You can read all this stuff. Also, he's got the podcast, and you can join the website and also the newsletter, and it's $9 a month, and you can find it. I just tweeted it out, the link to it, so you can find it all right there. I wanted to ask you about Colin Kaepernick, because he gets to try out with Las Vegas, and I said, look, if if he performs well, it really, you don't want to bring him in just to look like you're doing some window dressing. I mean, this has to be a serious look. And if he plays well enough to outplay what the backups are right now behind Derek Carr, you almost have to give him a job, don't you?
Yeah, but I just don't see it because he's been out for 5 years. And I mean, he may look good in a tryout, but I think it's great he's having a tryout after 5 years of not having tryouts. But it's just, to me, it's like having been in that role, it's just doing your due diligence on tryout players. And I think even Josh McDaniels said, we brought in a lot of guys, and we'll keep in touch. And I just think this, Bill, I said this for years about Kaepernick. If you're not looking at him as a starter, which no one is going to be looking at him as a starter these days, do you want that as your back? Do you want your backup player to have that attention? Teams usually, they'll deal with attention and stuff about their stars. That's fine. That's par for the course. But when it comes to backups, do you want a lot of attention and notoriety about backups? I think teams are going to shy away from that. And, yeah, Mick Lombardi's with the Raiders. He was at San Francisco during those glory years of Kaepernick, so I get it. I just don't see him signing him.
Yeah, that was my question, is if you bring him in as a backup, you have to be able to absorb all the scrutiny that's going to come with that. And then, I guess my question would be, is it worth it? I mean, is it just an initial onslaught, and after that he goes quietly into that good night? Or is it every day, and then you're asking all the guys in the locker rooms to step up and answer those questions as well? I don't know. I mean, I'm glad he got a tryout, I guess, but I just don't want it to be where all of a sudden now people are screaming, well, you only gave him a tryout just to give him one so we'd shut up and go away, for those that want to see Colin Kaepernick come back into the NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that. I just think that they also traded. Now, I know it was like a 7th-round pick for Stidham, who Josh McDaniels drafted in New England. I would say Stidham has a better chance of being Derek Carr's backup, who's obviously played for Josh McDaniels recently, or at least practiced for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say he has a much better chance. That he's already signed, of course,
right, than
Kaepernick. So I don't see them signing him.
So real quick before I let you go, obviously Aaron Rodgers not in camp. He said at some point he's going to be in one of these camps. But one, Packers, and you're in a front office, what kind of emphasis was there to have veterans work with, specifically in the quarterback position, work with young guys because I just don't want to hear, hey, we're not on the same page yet 6-8 games into the season, when you could have been starting to build relationships now. Rather than waiting until training camp. So give me your thoughts, or at least what the premise was going into these camps, these OTAs and mini camps, trying to get the veterans to kind of show the young guys the way.
Don't get me started, Bill. I mean, the one thing I got there, and 2-3 years in, I said, I gotta fix this. I gotta change this, where no one was showing up in the spring. No veterans were showing up. And I just said, we got to fix this. And we had to make it financially sound. And say a guy was making $1 million, I would say, you're not making $1 million anymore. You're making $900 and $100,000 workout bonus. And that was the only way to sort of get people up there. And still they're all fighting me and say, can't I just have my trainer send in reports from Florida, from Texas, from California? And I'm like, no, you got to be here. And it was so hard, so hard to change that culture. And now most of them are there. And sure, the stars will still stay away. Of course, Brett Favre stayed away, and Charles Woodson stayed away, and that's fine. I think what you're talking about now with Aaron and new receivers, I get it. But he's freaking Aaron Rodgers. I mean, He'll figure it out. The new receivers will figure him out in 6 weeks of training camp. But the last thing I'll say, which I've talked about before, is we learned a lot about Aaron Rodgers in those 2 off seasons where Brett stayed away. And hopefully they're learning a lot about Jordan Love last year and this year. And it's his team. It was Aaron's team for those 4 months. And it's Jordan's team, I would think, for these 4 months. So a blessing in disguise for the Packers, I think.
Just to get a little more of a look at him. So I don't. Should we read anything into the fact that at least as far as we know, the phone really wasn't ringing off the hook for Jordan Love for as many teams that were looking for quarterbacks as there were this offseason?
I don't know. I mean, knowing Brian and knowing the Packers, they're not trading Jordan Love. They're not trading Jordan Love, and we can have a whole nother discussion about how long Aaron stays, but it could be just like Aaron. Aaron sat 3 years. Jordan sat 3 years, and he comes in next year. We'll see.
Yep, no doubt. Andrew, always great stuff. And if they want to get a hold of the newsletter or listen to the podcast, again, how do they do it? Where do they go?
Yeah, the podcast is wherever you hear podcasts, but I did start this newsletter. Go to andrew-brandt.com. It comes out every Sunday. And I've recently started, as you mentioned, this premium site where they get me every day. I do videos, and we meet every week. So a lot of people are interested in sort of getting more. And there you go to andrew-brandt.com/SBL for Sports Business League.
There you go. Good stuff. Appreciate it, pal, and have a great weekend, okay?
Same to you, Bill.
All right, talk to you soon. There you go. That is our good friend Andrew Brandt, kind of giving us a lot of the business, so to speak, when it comes to the NFL specifically, as looking at, he's like, man, he seems to think, Ben, when you and I did the over and under on 8 games for Deshaun Watson, he thinks it's going to be more. And he said, I mean, even he said, I don't think that Deshaun Watson is going to play a whole lot of football this season. Does that mean then the Browns are going to be extremely reluctant to get rid of Baker Mayfield?
I guess so. I mean, if there's anyone in the NFL I would not want to be right now, I think he might come close to the top of the list.
Right? Because they've invested in Deshaun Watson, but Watson most likely not going to play. And if he does, it's not going to be a whole lot. Can you imagine that if Baker Mayfield does not get traded, he stays in Cleveland? Now, if I'm Baker Mayfield, I think I want to hold out. But Baker Mayfield's other option would be to go to Cleveland, to get into camp, to completely kick ass to the point where this team is in playoff contention, and then just to say, told you I could do it. If you put the right pieces with me, I can do it. And by the way, I'm healthy. And then Deshaun Watson takes it over. And if Deshaun Watson takes him to a Super Bowl, so be it. But if he fails miserably after being out of the game basically for a year and a half, and he looks bad, but Baker Mayfield looks great, oh my God, the quandary, the mess that would be in Cleveland then. And then Baker Mayfield he could go off and be traded, and Cleveland could get more for him and what have you. But it's just, what a crap show over there in Cleveland. Holy mackerel. We're going to do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. When we come back, got a lot more to get to. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show live down here at the War Memorial on the banks of Lake Michigan. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back on this Friday edition, going into the Memorial Day weekend. Hey, a big one coming up tonight down at the UW Panther Arena. If you are an Admirals fan or maybe a casual hockey fan, it is playoff hockey, and again, another do-or-die situation for the Admirals. They win, they have one more game then to advance. If they lose tonight, their season comes to an end playing the Chicago Wolves. So get down to the UW Panther Arena. If you're looking for tickets, go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That is MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Get down there and root on the Admirals. Hopefully they get a win tonight, get another game down in Chicago, and then they move on towards a Calder Cup. Can't wait. Hopefully they get the win. Let's go Admirals. Let's get the job done. Coming up tonight down at the UW Panther Arena. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. We're going to talk with Zach Heilprin, sports director at WOZN, the Zone out in Madison. A little bit about the Badgers and some Packers chatter as well. That's coming up here after the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned for that. I wanted to go back to the NIL stuff, Ben, real quick. And I know you guys were talking about it earlier this morning. And a question was posed to me actually by a business owner. And the business owner had brought it up, and he said, so what is the benefit to my business if I bring in one of these high school recruits now? Can we sign them to a contract that makes them exclusive to us? I have never looked into the details of an NIL contract, but my assumption is they're like any other contract. The exclusivity clause can be there if say you are going to sign with Adidas, or say you sign with Quick Trip. You know, say let's Quick Trip, a local company, goes and signs this kid coming out of high school, and he's going to play for the Badgers, to where anything in Quick Trip related to Badger stuff, they write you exclusively to. Okay, then you can only do that. You can't then go, say, to Speedway or to BP and get another deal. Yeah, you can get exclusivity deals. But do you know anybody that's got one of these NIL contracts out there in Madison?
No. And I think the exclusivity part is tough because they are not technically employees. I think they're more freelancers. So they would be obviously paid per appearance or per advertisements, or they do a signing or whatever. I don't know how the exclusivity would work, though, because I don't believe they can be contracted like a professional athlete could.
That's what I'm thinking. But I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, let's say Adidas comes to that player and says, we want you to wear nothing but Adidas shoes, and we're going to pay you to do it. But yet the school has a contract with Under Armour. Does that then become a conflict? Does that player then, is he committed to Adidas and Adidas only? And can the school say, no, you have to wear Under Armour because of our deal with Under Armour?
I don't know. And I would figure the school's deal would come first because it's all of the apparel the school has. I would assume there's some sort of dress code when they do take the field in terms of if there's other stuff, like aside from the jersey and the pants and the helmet, they would have to fit some certain criteria. So in terms of on the field apparel, I would assume the school's rule would reign supreme.
Yeah, I don't know how all that works. So I'm not the best person to ask when it comes to that. I know that who is it? Who has Wisconsin now? Is it Under Armour?
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought, because it was Reebok for a while, and then they ended up going over to Under Armour. Because I know some of the schools have Nike deals, some of the schools have Adidas deals. Because they used to have, Wisconsin used to have Adidas. Correct me if I'm wrong. Back when Bo Ryan was the head coach. Am I correct in that?
I'm not sure.
I think I'm correct in that. I'm not 100% positive, but I think I'm correct in that. So anyway, going back to it, I don't know. I couldn't honestly tell you. Rick says the schools deal supersedes any NIL deal. And that would be my assumption, but I don't specifically know. Now, I would assume that when this guy's out making appearances or such, and he's walking into a Nike store, he's probably wearing a Nike store Nike gear. True. Judge Smells Burner says Aaron Rodgers wears Adidas and the NFL deal is Nike. The NFL deal is Nike jerseys, is Nike uniform. Their shoes are not part of that uniform, if I'm correct. So in that case, I think they cannot wear Rodgers cannot come out in a jersey that represents the Adidas logo, if I'm not mistaken. So that's different. It's kind of like, the NBA players, they have certain deals that they're allowed to have. NBA players wear their own shoes, but the uniform itself is custom made by blank. And I think it's Nike as well, if I'm not mistaken. But each player is allowed to have their own deal and create their own shoe and wear it on the court. So I think the shoes are different, but the uniform itself, you are correct that the NFL has that deal with Nike. You are correct. Anyway, I think that's kind of how it works, but I think that the school's deal with uniforms supersedes any deal that a player would get. But I think when it comes to shoes, that might be different. Couldn't tell you. Rick says, I forget the basketball recruit, but he was limited to like Kansas and one other school because he signed with a shoemaker. I don't know. That's a good question. Anyway, we're getting into the weeds, but it is something we can talk about. Zach Heilprin is going to be joining us coming up next. He is the sports director, WOZN. The Zone, our flagship station out in Madison. We are broadcasting live at the War Memorial on the banks of Lake Michigan as the Field of Flags is being put into place for the ceremony tomorrow. And we thank all of you veterans and those that are currently in the military and all of their families for the weekend that is upcoming, and respect all those who did perish and give so much, the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. We certainly appreciate everything about that. By the way, if you're heading downtown at all this weekend and you're going to stop by, say, in the 3rd Ward or over at 2nd and National and Walker's Point, Stenny's is the place to go to watch sports, whether it's a Brewers games this weekend, want to run some shuttle buses over to the Admirals game, they'll get you there, no problem. Maybe check out the Indy 500 or just go in for some terrific food and a great atmosphere, what I've always called the Cheers of Milwaukee. That is our friends at Stenny's. 2nd and National, Walker's Point. Stop in, tell them we said hi. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's kind of a crapshoot trying to find another 3 to take the over. I'm not saying that they won't get 9 wins or won't get 10 wins, but if I'm saying 8.5, I probably would say over. But if it was 9, I'd say under. You know what I mean? Like I do think it's going to be 9, and it's just really difficult to guarantee any outside of the 6. Like I think they got 6, and then they have to find ways to get another 3 to get the over.
So going in that direction, I still think they're a 10-win team. I think that, I don't know specifically when it comes to what their defense is going to be capable of doing, but I always count on a good Jim Leonard defense. I just do. It's kind of like the sun coming up. You always know they're going to be tough in a lot of different areas, and the areas they're not, they're able to overcome. The only question mark to me is whether or not the offensive line is able to protect Graham Mertz, and if Graham Mertz's decision-making has gotten quicker, if he's able to look at things and suddenly the game is slowed down and he can make a decision and see the opening and see where things are and things are going to be better. And obviously I go back to the offensive line opening up holes for the run game. But to me, I look at this schedule and I say, I know the tougher games are on the road and the bigger games are on the road, but I said 10 wins, and it came very naturally. It came very quick. When I looked at it, I went win, loss, win, 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 win. And then I had maybe loss at Ohio State. And then maybe one of those games they shouldn't lose, but they do. One of those, patented games where you're thinking they're rolling and all of a sudden they stub their toe, like we've seen them do against Minnesota or Northwestern down there, one of those goofy games. But beyond that, I thought 10 wins.
Yeah, so I think you mentioned something that's key there, and that's the offensive line, because I think Graham Mertz, one given time, certainly has the ability to pick teams apart. He has the ability. Now, has he done it consistently? Absolutely not. But he also has taken so many hits these first 2 years as a starter, and I think the offensive line is a huge key to that, and I do think they're going to be better. I think their left side certainly is going to be better with Jack Nelson at left tackle and Tyler Beechin at left guard, and then Joe Tippmann's one of the better centers in the league, and then you have the right side that's still a little bit in flux, but I think you got a lot of good options there. If they can keep him upright, I think that they are going to have a better passing game, and I think that's going to happen, but it's going to be on Graham to actually make plays. But you talk about the Ohio State game, that's a loss in my mind, right? And then you have at Iowa, at Michigan State, at Northwestern, all 3 of those games, certainly, I don't know, 2-1, 1-2, like out of those 2, because going down to Northwestern, never easy. Going down to Iowa, the way that they played defense the last few years, not going to be easy. So it's a challenging schedule, certainly, and none of the games, as I mentioned before, are at home. All the tough ones are on the road, maybe outside of Minnesota.
I look at that Northwestern game and I'm thinking they should beat Northwestern. I don't doubt that they should beat them. So just to say we're going down there and we don't traditionally win there. See, that's the thing that's always bothered me. I agree. It's a goofy place to play. It's just got a different feel to it. So it's tough, but that's one of those things where it's almost like a coach. You got to overcome that. You can't go to a lesser team and just say, well, it's a goofy place to play and we usually lose here. Not that Paul Chris accepts that, but that's one of those things where you and I both look at it and go, goofy place to play. I check it off as a loss. But at what point do they finally just say, this is crap? We're got to overcome this.
Yeah, I mean, it is a goofy place. I will say the game being at 2:30 as opposed to 11, as ridiculous as this sounds, kind of makes a little bit more sense. Someone tweeted at me, 11 a.m., easy Northwestern win, 2:30, Wisconsin should win. Just because it's a goofy place, and it's a little bit different when it's a little bit at a different time. An 11 a.m. game at Northwestern is like the smallest high school game that you've ever been to. Mm-hmm. It's just there's zero energy. It's a really, really weird place to play. Now there's a lot of Wisconsin people that travel down there, but it's still such a weird place to play, and that's why you just never chalk that up as a win. But should they win? Absolutely. Northwestern is not going to be very good this year. I don't envision them bouncing back like they had the last two, when they went to a title game in 2018 and then did it in 2020. I don't envision that happening this year after a really rough season last year. So you should be able to beat Northwestern. It's just history gives me pause.
The other thing,
they are not a.
The other thing about Evanston, if you go to Evanston and it's a gray, cloudy, even almost coming off of a rainy day, or it's just a raw day, it makes it that much more worse. Where you get into stadium situations, there's still an energy. Even in snowy situations or icy situations, there's an energy. You go down there on a gray, cloudy, cold day, and it's just kind of a raw day. It sucks down there. It's just, you're right. There is zero energy in that joint.
Yeah, no, Wisconsin went down there in 2014, and Melvin Gordon ran for like 258 yards, and they still lost. And it was one of those days where it was rainy. They threw Joe Stave and Tanner McAvoy threw a bunch of interceptions. Like, it's just – and 2018 was kind of the same way. That was a better Northwestern team, but they just – when it's nasty down there, it feels weird. I can't explain it. I've never been to another stadium like it. It is just so abnormal compared to pretty much every other venue in the Big Ten. It's just complete opposite.
Zach, good stuff as always, man. I appreciate it. Have a terrific weekend, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
All right, sounds good, Bill. Thank you.
There you go. That is Zach Heilprin, WOZN out in Madison, our flagship station covering the Badgers, the Packers, and such, and just kind of rendering some opinions as the Badger schedule trickles out and the Green Bay Packers wrapping up this week's OTAs, and to grab his opinion on that somewhat. Good stuff to get him on. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And I tell you time and again, they are terrific doors. They are terrific windows. They are terrific entry systems. I have them all in my home. I believe in the product. I got the product first before I ever did any of this endorsement stuff. It's a terrific product. And if you are looking for a budgetary friendly line, they have the vinyl windows. If you're looking for a little bit of an upgrade, you go to the Impervia, the traditional wood, the luxurious wood, contemporary to traditional, and they have many different ways to finance for your budget, for your lifestyle. You can choose the interior, the exterior, the hardware, the innovations like roll screen, the innovations like the slider window, so many different things. And the best part about it, I've always stated, is when I lock them up at night and I put my head on my pillow, unless you drive a truck through them, you're not coming in the house. It's that simple. They're that good. They're secure. They're beautiful. They add value to your home. So many different aspects of Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Get a hold of them. Call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. Or simply go to the website. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. And you're not going to get a better window. You're not going to get a better door. You're not going to get a better entry system. And they custom measure, they custom cut, they custom assemble, and they custom install them, and they warranty them. And that's the best part about it. Go to our friends, PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. We are broadcasting live at the War Memorial, downtown Milwaukee, right on the banks of Lake Michigan. Field of Flags and the ceremony coming up this weekend, and we've been showing you some pictures over on the Facebook fan page and over on the Bud Light live stream all day of many of the different scenes from down here. So appreciate all the compliments, and I appreciate everybody taking a look at it as well. So thank you so much. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at WABAM, W-A-B-A-M. And if you are looking for cleaning products, say your janitorial service, they have them. They can do it, and they are right here in Wisconsin. Stick with a hometown team. Stick with those that are right here in our own backyard. How about maybe a car guy or a boat guy or a motorcycle guy or a girl for that matter? They have products such as Whiplash, which kind of puts a coating on the bike or on the boat or on the car where the bugs just kind of, when they hit and you go to get rid of them, they just kind of wipe off. It's not like staining or anything like that in the fairing or staining in the headlight area or anything in that particular sense, or keeping some of the barnacles and such off of your boat. WABAM, W-A-B-A-M. Go to getwabam.com. That is getwabam.com. And support not only local, but get a terrific product along the way as well. And if you're looking forward to try it for the first time and you just want to pick up a bottle and you're out at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, they have a lot of the product right there, WABAM, right next to the parts counter. So go into Wisconsin Harley-Davidson out in Oconomowoc and grab it right next to the parts counter as well. There you go. That's getwabam, WABAM.com. I gotta tell you, when we were sitting there talking to Zach, things happen. And today, the camera that points inward towards me, for whatever reason, the cabling is something's not right with it. So the camera's worked sporadically today. It's kind of flickered a little bit. Otherwise, you would have seen it. But if you were listening to me talk to Zach, you heard a pop, a slight pop in the background. Well, where we're sitting, which is the 4th floor window of the big conference center here at the War Memorial, and we look out over Lake Michigan, and one camera's pointed off to the right down Lake Michigan, and the other one's pointed off to the left up to the Veterans Park area and the Field of Flags. And I'm talking to Zach, and I'm in a chair, an office chair, a nice, comfortable office chair, and I'm kind of rocking back and forth, but it's got the pin in it that kind of locks it into place so it doesn't go all the way back. Well, as I'm sitting here talking to Zach, the pin popped. And I completely, short of taking down the entire setup with computer screens and all, completely lost it. And I don't know if you heard it or heard the ooh, but I never let the headset hit the ground. So you couldn't hear like the tumble. But the whole thing let go, and I went ass over elbows backwards, feet in the air, and I did a complete like backward somersault roll while talking to Zach Heilprin. I've never done that on the air in my life. And all I kept thinking was, don't let the headset fly off. Because then I couldn't hear what Zach was saying, and I wouldn't know how to respond to him. And you'd probably hear it go tumbling backwards. But don't let the headset fly off. So you didn't find the audio of it, did you, Ben?
The logs have to reset.
Okay.
Give me a couple minutes.
Yeah.
We'll hit the top of the hour. We'll get the big reveal.
I was as I was going, I had the button in my hand that turns the mic off, but you could hear the pop, and that was when it let go. I went tumbling backwards, and I don't know how I got up. I was like a gymnast. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling kind of nimble in the half two
Just
moment.
being a non-athlete.
In the half two moment, I did okay, I guess. But I couldn't tell if you heard it or not. But so, I mean, I had people talking about the sound and stuff, and I was trying to readjust because I just completely lost it. I mean, ass in the air, flying backwards. And if anybody was on a tour of this place, walking by the window behind me, looking in, they had to have like fallen off the rail into the midst of the eternal flame because they were laughing so hard they just passed out and fell over. I've never had that happen before. Oh my God. I'm sure tomorrow I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to get up tomorrow morning to go to Forgotten Fire Winery. I'm going to get up and my back's going to be out. My knees are going to hurt. My ankle's going to be swollen up. My head will have a lump on it. I'll be a mess. I do see some sunshine popping through way out in the midst of Lake Michigan. There is a boat out there with some sun on it right now. I'm liking the fact that I'm seeing a little bit of blue sky to the north, a couple of open spans. I feel like I'm nautical up here, like I'm on the front end of a cruise ship, like I'm the captain heading off into the ocean area because I can't see Michigan. So, stay tuned. We got another hour of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill. Great food. Big weekend. Getting the boat in the water out there on Pewaukee Lake. Go check it out. Say hi to Ryan and his staff at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill. More coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers have won 3 straight. That's after beating St. Louis last night 4-3. Luis Urias hit his 4th home run of the year, while Christian Yelich and Andrew McCutchen each drove in a run. Eric Lauer solid over 5 innings, giving up 2 runs to pick up his 5th win of the year. After missing the San Diego series due to a family emergency, Josh Hader returned to earn his 16th save of the year. It didn't come without some drama, as the winning run was on base, but manager Craig Counsell says Hader never lost focus.
It's a tough inning for anybody going through some really good hitters, but he handled it well. I mean, that's what he's so good at. Stuff starts going on, and got a couple guys have good at bats, but he still slows the game down and makes pitches. Guys give him tough at bats, and he just still makes pitches. In those situations, there's not a lot of room for error, but there's never any speed up in Josh, and that's what allows him to keep making pitches. And it's an inning where you got to keep making pitches.
The win moved Milwaukee to 4.5 games up on the Cardinals in the NL Central. Same 2 teams tonight in St. Louis. First pitch is at 7:15.
Your work-life balance is important to you, and Sutton Transport agrees. Sutton Transport offers a 5-day work week. Same start times daily, and you'll be home nightly and on weekends. Sutton Transport is now hiring CDL drivers and forklift operators for all shifts. Enjoy some of the best benefits in the industry. Consistent year-round work, twice-a-year wage increases, and enjoy your family time you deserve. That is work-life balance. The road to success is with Sutton Transport. Apply at suttontrans.com.
Well, the Packers have all but one of their draft picks under contract. 4th rounders Romeo Doubs and Zach Tom became the latest to sign their rookie deals yesterday. Green Bay now has 10 of their 11 picks signed. Only one left is 2nd-round wide receiver Christian Watson. Packers finished off their first week of OTAs yesterday, back on the field next Tuesday for week 2. Turning to the Badgers, they're going to open the season at night against Illinois State. That was announced yesterday. Kick on September 3rd, set for 6 p.m. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, print.
Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live. We're at the War Memorial on the banks of Lake Michigan. As we head into this Memorial Day weekend, remembering what it's all about. Glad to have you on board. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hey, a reminder, speaking of, honoring those that do so much for us, those that are in the military, veterans, and their families. Don't forget, coming up on Sunday, September 4th, our motorcycle ride benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin will take place. For those watching on the Bud Light live stream, all you got to do is use your phone, scan the QR code, and you're registered. Otherwise, you can simply go to fisherhousewi.org, fisherhousewi.org, and there is a bevy of prizes and great things that are coming up this year. Look for a detailed video and a detailed note coming up over at Facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run as well. Follow that page because it will update and we will update that accordingly. But we're just crossing the T's and dotting the I's on a few things. You heard one of them today. To those of you listening to the program, that we hope that his health will allow, but to greet us at the end of the ride, we are hoping to be, that he will give a little talk, so to speak, for a couple minutes on the stage afterwards. Would be the only living Medal of Honor winner in the state of Wisconsin. That would be Gary Wetzel. Hopefully he can join us. If he can't, it's completely understandable. But that would be the cherry on top of the sundae, because we have a great ride planned. We have a great event. We got a great band, great stops. All of our sponsors along this year with us, with Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, Potawatomi Hotel Casino, Bud Light, MKE Brewing, downtown Milwaukee. Also all of our terrific stops, which is the Rock Complex, Alpine Valley, and Knucklehead. They're all great people. It would be great to get Gary to come on the stage as well. So I encourage you, if you're a rider or know someone who is, scan the QR code and get signed up, and we will see you there on Sunday, September 4th. Looking forward to it. Couple of things, real quick. The weekend we've got. What are you more excited for? And I think this is interesting because race fans, you've got NASCAR running. You've got the F1 in Monaco, which they've been advertising the hell out of, and the Indianapolis 500, which, by the way, Miles Teller out of Top Gun Maverick, known as Rooster, Bradley Rooster Bradshaw, son of the late beloved navigator Goose in the long-awaited to the sequel. Miles is no stranger to action-packed roles. He is going to be waving the green flag for the 33 drivers racing for history. And he is going to be the dropping the green flag at Indianapolis Motor Speedway this weekend. What are you most interested in? Obviously, there's Brewers baseball. We know that. You got the Heat and the Celtics coming up tonight. So if the Heat get a win, then it goes back to Miami. If the Celtics get a win, they close it out, and then we are set for the NBA Finals. But when you look at this Memorial Day weekend in the sporting world now, what do you most look forward to? As much as I love baseball, and I do, I am a baseball fanatic. I cannot wait for the hot dogs. I can't wait for the beer. I can't wait for just that feel, summer, warm weather outside. I love it. Love it. But this weekend, I have an affinity for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the greatest spectacle in racing. And I cannot wait. Cannot wait. 877-867-1670. Ben, what are you looking forward to this weekend? Now, you're heading to Chicago to tear that town up. I understand that, which, by the way, I got a good bar selection for you, too. But what are you looking forward to this weekend?
Well, get on the golf course. Confidence goes down into the basement, but it should be a good time. I don't know. I'm going to watch a lot of sports this weekend, but now that the PGA is behind us, I never really watch a tournament like the one that's on now. I don't know. The fact it's a 3-day weekend, I don't have one specific thing I'm fawning for. I can't say the NBA playoffs have really done it for me up to this point. Every game's a blowout.
I'm looking forward to the IndyCar. I love the IndyCar because in a couple of weeks they're going to be here in the state of Wisconsin. So whatever happens, whether it's controversy or joy, jubilation, underdog winning, whatever that happens to be, I get excited about it because that media frenzy, that push will then translate over to Road America, we hope. So I'm always looking forward to that. Obviously, F1 has captured many's imagination because of the docuseries on Netflix and the fact that they have now raced in Miami, which was a spectacle within itself. I know that's exciting. Obviously baseball, but I agree with you about the NBA. Once the Bucks were done, it has not been spectacular. It has been almost a bit of a yawner because the expected has not happened. We expect Boston to get a win, and which, that being said, they'll probably lose. I'm not going to put any money on the game. That's for damn sure. And what the Golden State Warriors did to the Mavericks was just basically dismantle that team and send them scrambling. Now they got to put some pieces alongside Luca. But this weekend I'm looking forward to relaxing, and I'm looking forward to the racing. I think the most. Obviously, there's NASCAR too. NASCAR and what they have coming up on during the evening, we'll say. And by the way, Jimmy Johnson said he's not adverse to running both, doing the Indy 500 and then flying off to do the Coca-Cola 600. After that, he said he wouldn't mind doing that and trying that out. So, because Jimmy Johnson has jumped over to IndyCar, so we'll see if he ends up deciding to commit to that possibly next year. But anyway, it's just a big weekend coming up in that realm. So and by the way, if you're going to go to a bar in Chicago, now one of the cool places we went to, there's two places that we went. One was upscale and one was not. Have you ever been to the rooftop bar in the Trump Tower?
No, I've not.
Rooftop bar, Trump Tower. Now, the night we went there, it was storming. It was getting ready to storm. So the rooftop bar was open until they closed it, obviously for inclement weather. But you could see the lightning and you could see the clouds and stuff off into the distance, and it overlooks the river. It is a spectacular view, and I highly recommend it. Then there's a bar called 3 Dots and a Dash. You ever been there?
No.
3 Dots and a Dash is like a basement tiki bar. You go down like 30 stairs. It's in an alley. You go down 30 stairs. You got to find it. Google it. But you go down like 30 stairs. It's like going to an inside tiki bar. And they serve these giant drinks that are, have dry ice in them, and they're flowing over, and you get like 5 straws with it. And just make sure you're Ubering. That's all I'll say. Because by the time we did 2 of those, there was 4 of us. And by the time I got back to the hotel, I couldn't tell you my name. So I'm telling, and I, it's more your crowd than it was mine. We were dressed up. We were part of that Gridiron Greats last weekend. So I was in a suit and tie. Everybody else is in there in, jeans and t-shirts and, looking like you're going to a Hawaiian beach. But yeah, it's a really cool place. Really cool place. Never knew it was there, but it's in an alley. You're going to gotta ask for it. But Google it and then see if an Uber driver will drop you off. It's not bad. It's not overly expensive. Well, it's kind of expensive. It's Chicago, but it's not overly expensive. But go there and go there with at least 4 friends to enjoy 1 or 2 of those big giant punch bowls. Just a little tip. There you go. 877.
Yeah, I was going to say my salary doesn't nearly go as far in Chicago as it does here in Wisconsin.
Oh, that's for damn mine.
In terms of drinking.
Oh my God, no. I completely agree with you. We went to the Trump Tower and had a couple of beers, and the girls wanted a 1 bottle of Veuve Cliquette, I think is what it's called, or something like that. It's a champagne, and you can get it in the stores up here for like $55 a bottle on average. You can get it a little bit cheaper, a little bit more expensive. In the restaurants, I know there's a local steakhouse that I've had it at before. It's like $150 for the bottle. Down there was $340 for the bottle. Because I thought, yeah, go ahead and get it. No big deal. When I got that bill, I almost fell over. I'm like, are you kidding me? Knowing what I pay for it here, because I've got 3 or 4 bottles of that stuff in the wine fridge downstairs in the bar. I'm like, for $45, yeah, I'll take that. And then they give you that bill at $345. Like, holy mackerel. I almost fell out of my shoes. So I had to fill out a credit app. I got denied a couple times, of course, and I had to work it off. So, but we're all good now. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Please feel free to go ahead and do so. What are you looking forward to this weekend? What's on the agenda when it comes to the big events? You got F1 in Monaco, the Indianapolis 500, and you also have NASCAR running as well. So you got a lot of pageantry going on this weekend. You got obviously the Brewers playing in St. Louis, and if the Brewers could get a couple more wins out of this series, I'd be ecstatic. It'd be fantastic. So looking forward to that as well. But a big sports weekend coming up. Mark says the Indianapolis 500, the greatest spectacle in racing, is always on my television. Even if it's running in the background, it's a must-see just to feel like you're finally venturing back into summer. Appreciate the email. I would agree with that. 100% agree with that. It's almost like a rite of passage for summertime. This was from our buddy Stephen Richfield. Good day. Again, thank you to all veterans for your service and all that you have done. Enjoy your weekend. It's well-deserved. I would say that Craig Counsell, the best manager in Brewers history. I believe he's going to take them deep into the playoffs this year, and even perhaps, dare I say it, a World Series. His handling of the pitching staff has improved over the years, and it is clear that he is a player's manager. Kudos to David Stearns and Mark Antanasio for recognizing that and keeping him from the onset. I don't know if you saw the article of Quay Walker and his speech at the Milwaukee High School Sports Awards. What a tremendous speech. I think that the Packers got a blue chip linebacker and definitely starting off on the right foot in the community. How refreshing is that? Remember to wear a poppy this weekend to thank all of our veterans. Steve, appreciate it, man. Good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Again, 877-867-1670. So it didn't, the audio of the chair busting up didn't come through?
I didn't hear it live, and then I'm going back to try to find it, and I don't think it really went through.
I wonder if when I went back, because I had hit the button, I wonder if as I was going back when the chair popped, if I hit the button and it muted it. Because I thought it was over.
What
No,
Zach was talking about?
I have no idea. I was too busy just trying to hold my big ass body up. I was praying to God that, because there's nothing behind me, so that I knew I could do like a quick tuck and roll. And I'm sitting here today with the cords. They go to like a switch that pops on and pops off, so I can turn the mic on and off. And they're extended. So I pulled. Had I just been plugged into the box, oh my God, everything would have came down. We'd have been off the air. But because I've got 12-foot cords on this thing, it just kind of rolled with me. And then I got back up and I went back over and sat in the chair and just kind of recouped for a minute and listened to what else Zach had to say so I could go, oh, okay, and then ask the next question. But I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. But it was when Zach was on the air with us, that's for sure. That I know. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. On this Friday edition of the Bill Michaels Show, we are so glad you were with us. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Epoxy Flooring Done Right. Get a hold of our buddy Sean over there if you're looking for an epoxy floor, a polyurea coating. Maybe a company outside of the state of Wisconsin did it. You're not happy with it. You can't go after them. So you got to do it right here for somebody in the state of Wisconsin, providing Wisconsin home and business owners epoxy floor coating and polyurea services at a reasonable price. Great workmanship, different colors, different finishes, even painting the room you are doing. They can do that as well. They're located right here in our own backyard. From Green Bay to Milwaukee to Madison, everywhere in between, go to epoxyflooringdoneright.com. That is epoxyflooringdoneright.com, or call our buddy Sean, 262-443-2852. Again, 262-443-2852. That is epoxyflooringdoneright.com. 262-443-2852. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, pull it.
Welcome back. Couple of segments to go before we get out of here. The Bill Michaels Show coming to you live from the Wisconsin War Memorial. We're on the banks of Lake Michigan as we head into Memorial Day weekend and enjoying ourselves here today. Don't forget the ceremony tomorrow down here for the Field of Flags, honoring those Wisconsinites who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. So that is going to take place down here tomorrow as well. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at the Milwaukee Bedbug Pros. That's Milwaukee Bedbug Pros. And I've been telling you about this for a while. Whether you have, say, bed bugs or ants or what have you, or maybe you just want to be preventative. If you own properties, this is something you could use. 414-877-5811. 414-877-5811. Again, 414-877-5811. Get a hold of our friends at MilwaukeeBedBugPros.com, and don't let the word Milwaukee fool you. They go a lot of different areas. So give them a shout. Again, 414-877-5811. Get a hold of Michael over there, and they can help you out. And by the way, they do it discreetly. I've been telling you that for a while. So they don't show up at your house with great big bugs all over the van or anything like that. They do it discreetly, and also with building owners, property owners, and such as well. But again, 414-877-5811, MilwaukeeBedBugPros.com. And like I said, be preventative. You know, when it comes to the stink bugs and the box elder bugs and roaches and ants, and doesn't necessarily mean you have to have them. It means you want to keep them out, and they do that as well. So good stuff. 414-877-5811. Glad to have you on board tonight. Okay, Ben, I haven't even given you the grid, if you will, for the Indianapolis 500, the starting grid. So is there a race favorite that you have right now? Anybody that you're looking at in particular when it comes to the race grid?
Oh, I'm going to embarrass myself with my lack of knowledge.
Nobody in particular that you have an affinity for.
The thing is, I've followed the NASCAR headlines and the rivalries. I know a lot of people hate Joey Logano. I don't really know why. I just know there's hatred. But how much of an overlap do those guys go and race in these? Because I thought no.
Well, you've got Scott Dixon, who just smashed the pole record at 234 miles an hour. One of your favorites, obviously. There's Jimmy Johnson, who's trying to win it, coming out of NASCAR a couple of years ago, the 7-time NASCAR champion. He needed a massive save in the first turn of his final lap and didn't advance out of the round of 12. Dixon, along with others, the other 3 Honda-powered teammates that made it, the reigning IndyCar champion Alex Palou. There's Marcus Ericsson there. Tony Kanaan is always a fan favorite. Ed Carpenter. So you've got different guys like that. So but you don't know. There's also some of the fan favorites, a guy like Helio Castroneves, who has won that thing numerous times. There's nobody in particular that you say are eyeing.
I actually am. I think my guy is going to be Santino Ferrucci.
Tell me why.
I can't say much about his racing prowess, but the name is electric, and he looks like he would be good.
Okay. All right.
Come on, say that in an Italian name.
Oh,
Unreal.
yeah, that's
Italian
not,
accent.
Well, that was like the old Emerson Fittipaldi. Same thing. Emerson Fittipaldi. Yes.
Yeah, they're
I
good
can
at
see it.
sports.
Yeah, okay. All right. Just checking. Have to do that. So you got Alex Pellew with Chip Ganassi, I believe. Will Power, obviously, with Team Penske. There's Graham Rahal, who is
Good name, by the way.
Graham Rahal. Yeah.
Will Power. Good
Will
name.
Power. And Will Power's led some. Joseph Newgarden, who's another one. Scott McLaughlin. There's Christian Lundgaard. Numerous that are there. And then we talked about Scott Dixon a little bit earlier and such. So we'll see what happens with the Indy car coming up this weekend. I'm excited. I am. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1671. Hit us up. Then you've got the game coming up tonight. Do the Boston Celtics get the win and end this thing tonight? Or by the way, is Tyler Hero playing tonight? Do you know?
Haven't seen.
If Tyler Hero was playing tonight, maybe he gives the Heat the offensive prowess they've been needing, and maybe they get that boost. If he's not, then I think the Celtics end it tonight. Do you agree? If you were a betting man, where are you putting your money?
Ooh, let me look up the line because I think the Celtics win tonight, but I don't know how much they're favored by. I hope they win. I'm so done watching the Heat play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I think Celtics Warriors, hopefully we might finally get games that aren't decided by 20 points.
Right. Both of those teams, when you get the Celtics and the Warriors in the finals, and I say win because I think it's inevitable, you are going to have two of the best defensive teams. We talk so much about their shooting prowess beyond the arc, and it is a three-point shooting league now. We know that. But you talk about two defensive teams that play really good transition basketball because they get turnovers and they don't allow second chance opportunities. This is going to, while it could turn out to be a really high scoring series, I don't think it's going to. I think you're going to see games that are just over 100, and I think you're going to see games decided by 4 or less. I don't see them becoming blowouts because both teams, yes, they shoot the ball extremely well, but both teams also play really good lockdown defense. So I wonder, first of all, it's a look into the future as to what these two teams are going to be like, and then what it's going to take to get the Bucks back to this point next year. Because is it going to be just something as simple as saying Chris Middleton's returning? Because I do believe I think anyway, my thought was that had Chris Middleton played in the series, that the Bucks probably win it. Even though this Boston Celtics blew them out a couple of times, I still think the Bucks could win it. But I keep thinking to myself, what do the Bucks need to get? But it's the same thing everybody wants. And everybody wants a perimeter shooter that can play lockdown defense. I just don't know how many of those guys are going to be out there on the open market. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the Heat are 8.5-point underdogs tonight. I looked that up.
Yeah.
I think I would take the Heat with the points if I had to guess, if I had to bet on it. But I think the Celtics win. But yeah, I agree with you. And the thing is, they're not really going to be able to answer it in the draft because you rarely see guys taken where they're going to select, have an impact day one. So we'll see. There are always guys that are overpriced in the free agent market, but then you wonder whether they can keep Bobby Portis and those guys around while also having to pay too much for a guy that will help.
I don't want to see them lose Portis. God, I don't want to see him lose Portis. And as much as I know people say it was no big deal, I still think the loss of PJ Tucker, that attitude, that junkyard dog material that he brought to the table, I felt that was somewhat missing. Even though Bobby Portis brought some of that, I think that PJ Tucker was, when it came to defense and that tenacity, he was kind of the straw that stirred the drink. And I don't want to see them lose Bobby Portis on top of it, because I think then defensively it's detrimental. You can still guard on the inside with Brook Lopez, but you lose that energy edge factor before it's all said and done. I don't want to see them lose that. 877-867-1670. By the way, Rick says I'm pulling for Jimmy Johnson, but I think Dixon's going to dominate the race. This is from Jason. Jason says, I look for Dixon to blow out in front of everybody and get ahead. It's going to come down to pit stops, though, if his team is the best team on the on the grid, then they're going to end up winning the race. He by far had the fastest car in qualifying. So yeah, you're right, probably right. But then again, who knows? I mean, when they qualified, was the track hot? Was it cool that day? I wasn't paying attention to the weather, and it's promising to be upper 80s. So it's going to be mid 80s to low 90s in that area with humidity. So that track could be vastly different going into the race come Sunday. So we'll wait and see. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Do it. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at MKE Brewing, a great place to view sports, get some food, some craft beers. 9th Street, downtown Milwaukee. Go into MKE Brewing and tell them we sent you. We'll be back coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They're racing and you don't want to miss it. June 9th through the 12th, it's the NTT IndyCar Series Satio Grand Prix presented by AMR. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back. Welcome to the special edition today of the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live at the War Memorial. Watching the Coast Guard right now. Just kind of slowly putt around out in the harbor that is the front harbor of Milwaukee, and a couple of sailboats floating around. What a beautiful view. I've never been up here on this fourth floor of the War Memorial before, but that's where we're broadcasting from. And the field of flags are being substantially added to, and I've been watching the progress as the morning has gone on. For those that have not seen it, if you're watching on the Bud Light live stream, that's just a portion of the flags that were there earlier this morning, and it continues to grow as they put in another 6,000 flags and get it up over to 12,000 flags for the Civil War vets that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And they're going to have a ceremony down here for all veterans and all of those that gave their life for us that are from the state of Wisconsin. So we appreciate that. And that's coming up tomorrow down here. They're going to have the final ceremony. But this portion of the program, by the way, brought to you by a couple of our good friends, one being Boondocks Barbecue Brews and such. And I'll tell you this, good people out there. And that's a place actually Sunday, if I'm going to go watch something, maybe Sunday, I head out there because they got that new patio that I have not seen as of yet. As far as been on, I saw them building it, but it's on County Highway K in Oconomowoc, right out there in well, it's a great ride too, by the way. Great ride, beautiful area out there, and they've got bike parking and such, and just really good food. Huge bar inside and out. So stop out to Boondocks Barbecue and Burgers and Brews on County Highway K in Oconomowoc. Good people out there. So, how much does this pertain to the situation in Green Bay? Lamar Jackson upset. And for those of you that watch Pro Football Talk Live, the podcast, former quarterback Chris Sims, he criticized Lamar Jackson's decision for skipping the OTAs. Now, Jackson playing with that short contract, he's kind of betting on himself. Him and his mom are his agent, so it's not like he's got an agent to deal with, and he just wants to bounce back and have a big year and then cash in. And Chris Sims said, I've heard Lamar Jackson says he wants to win Super Bowls. He wants to win a bunch of Super Bowls. I think there was a time when he was like, I want to be like Tom Brady. If you remember him saying that early in his career. Well, Brady doesn't miss OTAs in year 4 of his career, is what Sims said. That's what I want to say to some of these young quarterbacks. I hear, I want to be like Brady. I want to have a career like Brady. Well, then do what Brady does. Brady didn't miss an OTA until he had played in several Super Bowls. That's just from the football standpoint. I don't get it. I don't at all, Chris Sims said. Well, Lamar Jackson goes on and says, Lamar wants to be Lamar, Chris. The part of the OTAs is voluntary. My guy, I will be there, just not on your watch. It's probably other quarterbacks not attending voluntary OTAs either. But since it's Lamar, it's a huge deal. Find something else to talk about. Jackson took offense to it. Well, again, people talk about wanting to be like Brady. And I know that that's a path that Rodgers has discussed in the past of kind of being like Brady. Everybody wants to be Tom and do things in that particular fashion. Well, they're right. Here's the difference, though. Rodgers really wasn't missing OTAs up until last year. I mean, for the most part, Rodgers put in the offseason work and did it with the team. And remember, not only was Rodgers unhappy with, his relationship with leadership, but going into the offseason, when they were talking about collective bargaining agreement and such, and the Players Association was all gathered, Rodgers, at least to the reports, as the team representative, came into the collective bargaining agreement meetings at the very last day. So wasn't there throughout the entire discussion, but came in towards the very last day, and then recommended to the committee that would then put it to a player vote to say, let's get rid of the OTAs. We don't have to do this anymore. Let's not do this. This is our off season. It should be our off season. We go away, we work out, and then we come back for training camp, and that's it. And the players gave that up. The teams didn't want that to happen. The players didn't want it to happen. So Rodgers wasn't real happy about the fact that the players would not back him in going to OTAs or not going to OTAs. So it's a little expected that Rodgers isn't going to be there for the most part, because he feels he knows it. He don't have to go. So why should I be there? And again, it's more about team building, and it's more about the relationships that you build during the OTAs than anything. But Lamar Jackson, also a former MVP, sitting out of OTAs and saying, hey, they're voluntary. I don't have to be there. I don't want to be there. I don't need to be there. It's not the first time this offseason Jackson has also had to quiet criticism. Back in March, he talked about his commitment to Baltimore, saying, I love my Ravens, and pushed back against what he called a, quote, false narrative that he was looking to leave them because he had not signed a long-term deal. And many people thought that, well, being his own agent, he would have been looking for a long-term deal and looking for the money up front, and he didn't want it. He said, no, I'm good. Don't worry about it. I'm good. I don't need to do that. So he's kind of a guy that's been betting on himself. Now, I don't fault him for that. Look, he's, a guy. Darrelle Revis had a lot of success. He signed 1- and 2-year deals, made a ton of money betting on himself, went to the highest bidder, was kind of a hired gun all throughout the NFL until finally his career came to an end, and he walked away with a ginormous mountain of cash, and he was able to do that. So I don't worry about, guys betting on themselves. What you worry about is the commitment to team, the commitment to work, the commitment to not just individual. There's a difference. If you have team workouts versus an individual workout, we go do our own thing. We stay in shape. We kind of do what we feel is right for us. But for somebody to be there to push us, like if you've got a trainer, you got a trainer. Your trainer, you're paying your trainer. Your trainer's going to push you, but you're paying your trainer. Your trainer also knows that they're only going to push you so hard before you get pissed off and say, you know what, you're fired. You're pushing me too hard. Whereas coaches, strength and conditioning coaches, those inside the weight room that know you, that know how to push your buttons, and the level of commitment that you show to younger guys that say, man, if I want to get to the pinnacle and I want to get the contract and I want to get $150 million and I want to be guaranteed money and I want to be great at my profession and I want to be great at the position that I play, I need to do what he does. Well, if you're not there to see it throughout all of it, all you're learning right now is once you get to the pinnacle, you can just take time off. So it's tough, because if you and I had to go to voluntary things and we just didn't want to go, or we had something else going on that we really wanted to do, we probably wouldn't go. When you think about it, we probably would say, we can beg this one off, we can beg the next one off. But then you begin to go up the slippery slope of the erosion of commitment. And towards the end of a career, especially when you are pushing all your chips to the middle of the table over the next 2-3 years to say, this is it. This is my chance to get a Super Bowl. This is it. You're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, if you're already okay in taking time off, and I'm not to say it's a bad thing. I'm not. But that is the question perceptually outside looking in. Whereas Lamar Jackson's only a few years into this thing, and he's going, I'm good. I got it. I'm good. So I get it. Don't necessarily agree with it, but I get it. 877-867-1670. If you got an opinion, hit us up. Again, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Eric says, Google the Savannah Bananas and tell me baseball can't be fun. I got to do that during the commercial break. The Savannah Bananas. Ben?
Oh, it's like
Go ahead.
It's like the Harlem Globetrotters of minor league baseball, but not like real baseball.
Are they the ones that did the dance while the pitcher was pitching?
Yeah, they were in the HBO feature along with the Deshaun Watson stuff, but I saw a little glimpse of this one. It looks funny, but it's like, it's not baseball.
They're the ones that the entire team has a choreographed dance. So as the pitcher begins to wind up and starts to like move on the mound and dance and all that stuff, the entire team does the exact same mirror image dance. I did see that.
You got dudes pitching in jock straps. It's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Basketball can be fun too when you have the Harlem Globetrotters. You know.
I used to go all the time.
Yeah, everybody loves to go see them, especially here in Wisconsin on New Year's Eve when the Harlem Globetrotters used to come here religiously. You know, that's fun basketball. But when you get down to the competitive side of things, I don't think the Savannah Bananas are, or if they're pitching in jocks, the Savannah Banana Hammocks are winning a lot of games in the majors. I'll tell you that. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Do it. Hey, don't forget our buddy Jeff and his wife Alicia. They're telling you Stoley's Hog Alley is still open out there on Economawalk and Summit. Just because it looks like it's being torn down, which it is, doesn't mean they're not open. They got a lot of construction going on, but when it's going to be done, it's going to be beautiful. Going to be beautiful. Stop in. That's our friends at Stoley's Hog Alley. And don't forget about Stoll's Old 109 up in Watertown. Another great place to ride to, enjoy some terrific food and entertainment, bands, all that kind of good stuff. Check out our friends from Stoley's. Stay tuned. Final segment on this Friday going into Memorial Day weekend edition of the Bill Michaels Show at the War Memorial, downtown Milwaukee. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin isn't snobby, snooty, or pretentious. It's Midwestern charm at its finest. And that's exactly what Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo is all about. Fun in a bottle without the attitude. You can find their full wine and cider lineup in their tasting room or in liquor and grocery stores throughout the state. The winery is a great place to get away for wine and cider tastings, great live music, and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Final segment of the Bill Michaels Show, broadcasting live down here at the War Memorial. Sun is starting to burn off some of the clouds that are above. We've got some blue skies out over the lake in Lake Michigan. If you're watching on the Bud Light live stream, and they have the Field of Flags, which continues to grow, and the ceremony down here coming up tomorrow. It is Memorial Day weekend, and remember what Memorial Day weekend is. You don't wish it a happy. You don't have a great. You just say, enjoy your weekend the best you can. I think that's probably the best phrase to be used when it comes to Memorial. Honor the weekend. Enjoy, what it is you're going to do. The things that you have planned, the unofficial start to summer. But don't forget about what Memorial Day weekend is. There's been an emphasis over the last, say, half decade to really remember those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. So we have the freedoms to go to baseball games and IndyCar races and watch Formula One and NASCAR and basketball and such. So don't forget about it. Don't forget about it. And appreciate everybody, kind of hanging out with us today, both on the Bud Light live stream and over the air as well, and on all the different platforms. By the way, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts. Thanks for listening over on iHeart and the Odyssey app. Our website, which is thebillmichaels.com, thebillmichaels.com. Our friends at WOZN, The Zone out in Madison, our flagship station. You can download the app and take us anywhere and everywhere. So appreciate all of you paying attention to us right then and there as well. A couple other things just to kind of wrap up the weekend. Got some emails here. This one is from Jason, who says, people need to leave Aaron Rodgers alone. He knows the inside and outs of the offense better than anybody. I'm sure that once he gets into camp, he's going to be expecting the young guys to be on the same page as him. And he can't get them there by himself. He has to have the coaching staff to do so. Don't worry about Aaron. He'll be just fine. I don't think anybody's worried about Aaron. I'm not. I'm not in any way, shape, or form. I'm not worried about Aaron. I think what people are worried about is getting the young guys up to speed so Aaron can rely on them. Might be the best way to put it, to where he doesn't have to worry about whether or not to trust somebody. That's there's nothing more to it than that. I agree with you. There is no way that Aaron Rodgers is coming in unprepared. None. 100% agree. I think when you kind of get off the rails is when you think that Aaron's going to walk in and all of a sudden trust Christian Watson or trust Romeo Doubs or, Sammy Watkins. He's never worked with him before. Still hasn't. And the only way to build up that trust and that rapport is by being familiar with one another. So we'll see. I'm good with it. I really am. I just don't want to have issues mid-season and then hear this, well, we're not on the same page yet. When you've got 2-3 months build up into training camp and all you had to do was walk through the door. So that was it. In the meantime, this is from that's from Andy. Andy says, what do you think of Colin Kaepernick getting a contract with the Raiders? Do you think it's going to happen? Well, as far as we know, and this came out a little earlier today, is that the workout, at least according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, it went well. Adam Schefter said the same thing. The workout was, quote, positive, but there's not a deal that's imminent right now. They said the strength, the conditioning and such stood out at his workout, but no signing was imminent. At least as of late last night, the Raiders considered Kaepernick's workout a positive. And now that's according to a source. Doesn't say if it's Kaepernick's source or the Raiders' source. But Vegas could be looking for another passer to serve as the backup for Derek Carr, despite trading for the former New England Patriots quarterback Jarrett Stidham. Remember, their new head coach, which is a former offensive coordinator was the offensive coordinator for Josh McDaniels for New England. He then traded for Stidham. And they also signed Nick Mullins in NFL teams' workouts. Quarterbacks typically throw the route tree and implement team-specific offensive principles on the field to meet with coaches. Team workouts are considered less scripted than the player-organized workout Kaepernick has been doing in the past to showcase his talents to NFL teams. So they said when it came to working with the team and doing it in their facet rather than kind of on your own terms, he still performed pretty well. And another potential link to Kaepernick is the Raiders offensive coordinator Mick Lombardi, who was the 49ers assistant from 2013 through 2016. So he knows Kaepernick rather well. So, but no deal imminent as of yet. So nothing there. By the way, Josh McDaniels talking about the workout and Kaepernick coming into camp did say that, look, Derek Carr, whether or not it was a heads up for him, no. He said, I think Derek's pretty comfortable with where he's at. According to Josh McDaniels, he said, I think he knows who he is for us, and I know he knows how I feel about him, how we feel about him. I don't think that's a really big thing to Derek at this point, as if, and again, but he puts at the very end, at this point, there's no reason that Derek Carr should feel threatened at all by Colin Kaepernick. And going back to what we were talking about with Andrew Brandt earlier, and I agree, there isn't a team in the NFL that's right now, and I shouldn't even say right now, there isn't a team that is in some way, shape, or form looking for a starting quarterback and going to Colin Kaepernick. I don't think there is. I think any team that would be doing that would be crazy at this point. When there's other backups that have been playing in the league, been practicing in the league, been working in the league for the last, year, 3, 4, 5 years, when Kaepernick has been out, that anybody is then searching for a starting quarterback, and that's going to be Colin Kaepernick. I don't think that's the case. I would be shocked, quite frankly, if a team said, okay, our quarterback's down in training camp, we're going to go with Colin Kaepernick. I think I'd be shocked. I really would be. Coming up, by the way, we're not, because we're airing, what are we airing on Monday, Ben?
A best of.
It will be the best of.
A lot of segments compiled from the last couple days, interviews, all that.
Too bad then that we did not have the audio of the chair breakage. Because that
I know, I combed through it meticulously.
Okay.
But
that could have been the best
did not come to be.
Too bad we didn't have the video of that. That's for damn sure. So we will not be here. Go ahead.
Daniel and Thomas' call from a couple days ago did make the list, though.
Love Daniel and Toma. Who knows? Maybe I'm going to see him at the winery this weekend. So I am off. We are off on Monday. We'll be back at it again on Tuesday to talk about the culmination of the weekend. I am leaving the War Memorial. I'm going to change vehicles when I get home. And then after that, we are heading up to Four Seasons Island Resort in Pembine. I'll probably see if you're heading up there. I'll see you up there tonight for sure. And then tomorrow, going to be over at Forgotten Fire Winery, I should say. Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo. Get there about noon. Be there for a few hours. We'll see you there. I got a couple other things I'm going to do after that. And then back to Four Seasons for the evening. And then back down into the Milwaukee area on Sunday. And then I think it's rest and relaxation. I don't know what I'm going to do on Monday, but whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be, with a beverage in hand. But look for all that. So that's coming up this weekend. Hopefully the rest of you all remember what the weekend is all about. Enjoy the weekend, but remember the weekend as well. And, Ben, you be safe down in Chicago. I'm telling you, 3 dots and a dash, take a snorkel. That's my best advice. 3 dots and a dash, take a snorkel. And Google it. You'll be good to go. I'm sure your friends will enjoy it, too. Take a little bit of cash, but it's not going to break the bank, put it that way. I think that's it. Hey, thanks to Dan Buttry. He is the CEO and the president down here of the War Memorial as they continue their fundraising efforts. But don't forget this weekend, if you're out for a remembrance, tomorrow morning, the Field of Flags, the celebration, the ceremony, if you will, of those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice so we can enjoy the freedoms that we're going to have this weekend. So until we talk again, have a great time. Remember what the weekend's about, and we'll reconvene again on Tuesday. Time for us to go. Have a good one.